Members, the Acting Lord Mayor. City of Adelaide Council meeting on Tuesday, 14 July 2026. The Acting Lord Mayor is in the chair. This council meeting will be streamed live and recorded for publishing to the internet. Please note that an audio and visual recording is being taken of this meeting. This means that your presence at and any contribution you make to the meeting may be collected, used, disclosed, or published publicly by the Council, including transferring outside Australia.
Adelaide acknowledges the Kaurna people of the Adelaide Plains as the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. We acknowledge and honour their spiritual and cultural stewardship of this country and recognise their deep and enduring relationship with its lands, water, the sky, and all living things. We pay our respects to Kaurna elders past and present and recognise the important role of emerging leaders in sustaining and strengthening culture. The Council acknowledges the vision of Colonel William Light in determining the site of Adelaide and the design of the city with its 6 squares and surrounding belt of continuous parklands, which is recognised on the National Heritage List as one of the greatest examples of Australia's planning heritage. We pray for wisdom, courage, empathy, understanding and guidance in the decisions that we make while seeking and respecting the opinions of others. May we in this meeting speak honestly, listen attentively, think clearly and decide wisely for the good governance of the City of Adelaide and the well-being of those that we serve. Will all present please stand in silence in memory of those who gave their lives in defence of their country at sea, on land and in the air. Thank you, members. We have a leave of absence, the Right Honourable the Lord Mayor, Dr Jane Lomax-Smith and Councillor Siebentrit. No further apologies have been received prior to tonight's meeting. Okay, Council has been asked to confirm the minutes of the Council meeting 26th of June. I seek a mover, Councillor Davis, and a seconder, Councillor Snape. All in favour? Carried. Does anybody have a conflict of interest tonight to declare? No? We actually have 7 deputation requests that have been received for tonight's meeting. In accordance with Section 79 of the Code of Practice for Meeting Procedures, the presiding member, myself, may only approve 3 deputation requests. Any further must be put to a meeting. The 3 deputations that we have approved to be heard is Mr. David Wang, the Moonta Street condition, Mrs. Heidi Senior, the Traffic Safety St Mary's College, which is also relating to item 17.5 on the agenda, and Mr. Theo Dorakis, which is, I apologise, which is the Hutt Street safety concerns. I have received a deputation request from Ms. Georgia Than, raising concerns regarding public filming and permit compliance, which has been declined as the matters are operational in nature and some beyond the authority of the council. I have also received a further 3 deputation requests in relation to item 17.5 from Mr. Stephen Fisher, Mrs. Julia Anderson and Ms. Catherine Rava, which have been declined as the principal of St Mary's College has been approved to address council this evening. Councillor Davis.
I move that those deputies be heard if they are present in the chamber.
Have you a seconder? Councillor Kabada. Can I actually have a show of hands? All in favour? Carried, actually. Okay. So.
Yeah, presiding member, you do need to ask who was against and who was for.
Thank you, Councillor Davis. What would I do without you?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
All in favour again, please? Against? Carried. Oh, this is going to be so helpful. Each person making a deputation will have 5 minutes to speak to the council. If an extension of time is required, then an additional two minutes will be granted to the speaker with leave of the meeting, 2/3 of the council members in agreement. If any speaker wishes to have material distribution in the meeting referenced in the minutes, then it must be determined by the resolution of council. So the first person that we actually have doing a deputation tonight is David Wang. David, would you come to the podium?
Mayor and councillors, good evening. I'm here to speak on behalf of my business partners regarding the future of Adelaide's Chinatown and the importance of investing in its long-term revitalisation. Adelaide's Chinatown is one of South Australia's most recognised cultural, tourism and dining precincts. It plays a significant role in celebrating our multicultural identity, attracting visitors, supporting local businesses, and contributing to the city's economy. The last major revitalisation of Chinatown's core, particularly Moonta Street, was completed in 2004 with the construction of the iconic archways, traditional Chinese lanterns, and pagoda-style architectural features. These improvements have served the precinct exceptionally well over the past 2 decades and have become enduring symbols of Adelaide's Chinatown. However, more than 20 years have now passed, and the precinct is beginning to show its age. Many elements of the public realm, including paving, lighting, signage, street furniture, and laneway treatments, have become dated and no longer present the vibrant, cohesive image expected of a leading cultural destination. While these assets have served the community well, they now provide an opportunity for renewal that reflects the aspirations of a modern capital city. At the same time, aging infrastructure is increasingly affecting pedestrian safety accessibility, and the overall visitor experience. These issues impact not only residents and visitors, but also many businesses that rely on Chinatown as a thriving commercial and cultural hub. A comprehensive revitalization would do far more than improve the appearance of the precinct. It would enhance public safety, improve accessibility for people of all abilities, strengthen Chinatown's unique cultural identity, encourage greater visitation, support local businesses, and reinforce Adelaide's reputation as an inclusive and vibrant international city. Acting Lord Mayor, Chinatown has proudly served Adelaide for generations. With thoughtful planning and renewed investment, we have an opportunity to ensure Chinatown continues to thrive for the next 20 years and beyond, leaving a vibrant and enduring legacy for generations to come. I respectfully ask the Council to consider developing a comprehensive Chinatown revitalisation strategy to prioritise future funding for the renewal of its important precinct. Such an investment would deliver lasting cultural, social, and economic benefits for our city and demonstrate Council's continued commitment to one of Adelaide's most treasured destinations. Thank you, Acting Lord Mayor and Councillors, for your time and consideration. I appreciate the opportunity to present this deputation and look forward to working together to secure a bright future for Adelaide's Chinatown. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wang. Any questions, members? Okay, Heidi Senior.
Good evening, Lord Mayor, councillors. Thank you for having me. I want to start just very quickly as an acknowledgement of the Kaurna people, the traditional custodians of my new home here in this country, and acknowledge my home state of Tasmania, Lutruwita, Tasmania. I also want to invoke this evening the history of this place and the history of collective responsibility and collective care for each other. And I know that all of us are gathered here tonight in that spirit. I'd like to start by acknowledging the care and the engagement already shown by this council with the matter that I'm here to speak about tonight, which is traffic safety around our beloved St Mary's College. It is the oldest continuously operating school for girls in the state, and yet it finds itself in the city bounded by 3 extremely busy modern roads. We have over 600 students every day traversing Franklin Street, Grote Street and West Terrace, as well as over 100 staff members who have to cross those streets to get to school. That's our reality. Those 3 streets bound all of the entries and exits to our school. And we know that there are risks associated with those streets. In terms of our lived reality, as a college, since I started 18 months ago, we've been working very hard to implement supervision, community education and operational controls so that those things that are within our power we can do to help ensure that young people and the adults who work there are safe. I think the evidence around the safety concern is very clear. It's been acknowledged by you, the Council, yourselves through the 2024 Traffic Safety Review. We agree with the concerns that are raised. We know that those concerns are there because we live them every day. There's a group of people who've joined me tonight because they share my concerns. It's a weekly experience. A report of a near miss on a pedestrian crossing, watching a car try to throw a U-turn in the middle of Franklin Street in the middle of heavy traffic with young people moving across footpaths, and general speed across Franklin and Grote Streets where there are currently no warning signs that a school is there and no controls on speed. The solutions to this problem are also known. The Traffic Safety Review is excellent. It shares with all of us the solutions that are there and ready to go. We know that the problem is always money and time. We acknowledge and thank the community of the council who've already responded to a number of concerns that have been raised. I know that our community have been vocal and have shared their concerns in writing with you all, and we don't apologise for that because it's important to us. My paramount concern every day is that every girl and teenager that comes to our school goes home to her family. And at the moment, there are parameters outside of my control that are putting that at risk. While we agree with the recommendations in the traffic safety review, we do not necessarily agree with the timeframe. It's been 2 years since the traffic safety review was completed, and by the indications, it could be up to another 2 years before we see action on the truly impactful solutions, such as controls on the Grote Street pedestrian crossing where traffic is sliding down the left-hand side to get to West Terrace. So, to that end, I urge you and I beg you to do what I cannot, and that is to support the motion that's been tabled this evening in item 17.5 and help me to do the job of caring collectively for the young people and the adults who work in this beautiful part of the Adelaide city. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms Senior. Thank you. Now I call Mr Theodorakakos. I hope I did a better job of that.
I was very good this time. Acting Lord Mayor, councillors and visitors to tonight's meeting. My name is John Theodorakakos. My family has owned some shops on the corner of Hutt Street and Gillis Street for almost 20 years. Caramella Patisserie, the Old Croissant Factory, Kin Kin Thai Restaurant, Rajon Taj and the Gomi, the Japanese restaurant. I wish I had a good news story about that corner. Unfortunately, I don't. I'm here to ask for help. For me, for my tenants, and just as much from the homeless people who sleep in our doorways, because they have nowhere else to go. Tonight, I'm asking this council for two things. To support the 24-hour City Safety Patrol pilot program and back the motion calling on the state government to act on homelessness. Please let me tell you why. Every morning before dawn, a tenant arrives to open up and has to step around, some asleep on the concrete, in front of their shops. Their whole life piled into a shopping trolley beside them. Around them lies last night's mess, bottles, food containers, and too often, human waste against our doors, waiting to be cleaned up before the first customer arrives. I believe these people are drawn there by the Hutt Street Centre, and this is no criticism of the centre. Their work is outstanding. But the centre closes, and when it does, our doorways become bedrooms. This is not a failure of charity, it is a gap in the system. The gap has a real and significant cost. We had windows smashed, doors broken numerous times. The repair and cleaning bills never stopped coming. One particular morning, I was assaulted and had used syringes thrown at me for asking a group of men to move on from the rear of our shops. No member of our community should ever have to deal with this. Police have told us not to intervene ourselves. So my tenants arrive each day not knowing what they will find. And their customers are starting to go elsewhere. I know some of you are thinking this isn't council's job. The money and services sit with the state, and you're right. But tonight, I'm asking you to use the lever you do have, your voice, to vote for the 24-hour safety patrol that is within your power to fund. These happenings are on a major route into our city, in view of every visitor and family who passes through Adelaide South East. I invite every one of you to walk past and see it for yourselves. Not to be shocked, but to understand. It is a tragedy twice over, for people who deserve better than a shopfront for shelter, and for the business owners watching their livelihoods drain away. Compassion and commerce are both being tested here, And tonight, both are losing. So I ask you three things. Number one, how can council help us? Number two, how would you feel if it were your business with no end in sight? And most importantly, number three, how can these people be genuinely helped, housed and given a path back to dignity? I support both motions before you tonight. The patrol would put a trained presence on our streets exactly when it is needed most. And the letter to the Premier is the only thing that can bring the crisis accommodation, after-hours outreach and mental health and addiction support these people actually need. No patrol or shopkeeper can provide that alone. If that letter is sent, it will carry the voice of every trader, every resident and every rough sleeper on Hutt Street. I didn't come here tonight to point fingers. I came because this problem is bigger than any of us. And tonight, for the first time in a long time, you have two real chances to act. When this comes to a vote tonight, I'm asking each of you to say yes. Caramella Patisserie, their ovens will light up again before dawn tomorrow, but I'm asking you to make sure that when they do, the person outside the door has somewhere else to be. Thank you.
Make sure you use your microphone, Deputy Lord Mayor. I do have a question for you. Why now? Have you seen, over your 20 years of experience and your family around Hutt Street, have you seen the problem growing worse in recent times?
Yes.
What's been your first-hand experience in terms of that?
It's probably been, so it has, over the last 20 years, there's always been a problem, and we've been trying to handle the problem with the tenants. It's getting too difficult because of their volatile behaviour, and my tenants are scared. Well, so am I. So am I. So are most people in that end of the street. The broken windows are every week there will be a broken window. Probably the last 3 months we've had a broken door, 2 smashed big windows. The rubbish is daily, and like even you could go now, it's there. There's people there. There's rubbish everywhere. It's terrible. It's disgusting. And that's just our group of shops. Opposite where the audiology clinic and dentist is, there's been 2 broken glass doors in the last 2 weeks. Yeah. Now, we never. We didn't used to ring the police because we thought it was a waste of taxpayers' money, but I think now we just need to, every single opportunity, document it's done, and we've done that, but it's getting quite scary. It really is. Customers turning away. It's too difficult to be there without someone screaming. Like on the weekend, there was a gentleman walking around with 2 pit bull terriers, which was so scary. And you had a cafe, and it was families in the cafe, and everyone was just scared. It was real. It was scary. And you think, what are they doing here? And they're there. So, in answer to your question, it's been consistently not great, but in the last 6 months, I don't know why, it's been a lot worse.
Just quickly, Deputy Lord Mayor, one further question, and I want to say that I'm very sorry to hear that you were assaulted.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, not everyone in this chamber, elected members, might believe that, and they might question that,
Yep.
but it is what it is. I would like to ask you, in terms of your experience, have you also found that there's been an increase in aggression of those members around, not necessarily those sleeping rough, but those in the area within the City of Adelaide? Is that something you've noticed as well?
Yes, especially in the last 6 months. We
6
could
months,
put up with that, but not in the last. It's not acceptable. That behaviour is not. It's violent behaviour.
Yeah.
Shouting, abuse, fighting amongst each other in the middle of the road. It's terrible, and it's a daily occurrence. Not just happens once a week. It is daily.
Yeah, no, and I would recommend that you call police on a regular basis. I found that very helpful, very good at attending.
Thank you.
Councillor Martin.
Yes, thank you. And look, I am sorry to hear about the troubles you're having. If council were to agree to pay for 24/7 security guards to be on the streets, What is your expectation of what they would do?
I mean, the pilot program would be an Adelaide CBD based. I believe it would be that. I mean, I would expect people to be told to move on if there was aggressive behaviour, violent behaviour, or really nuisance crime behaviour, because it is nuisance crime. The clean-up is terrible, and that's what we're asking for, to have a cleaner spot there for the people, for everyone, for the tenants, for everyone that lives around there. It's about the cleanliness, really, also to move on and provide accommodation to these people, and that's where the state government would come into it.
And so the security guards would move on people displaying aggressive behaviour and also ask the homeless to move on, not sleep in shop doorways.
I think a security patrol would provide a distraction to the people so they know, look, you can't do that because you will be asked to move on. I think it's all about preventing them to be there in the first place.
The homeless or the aggressive behaviour?
Well, I'd say the homeless are the aggressive. That's why it could be both. I'm not a social worker, and that shouldn't have to be. So that's why.
Thank you.
So I hope I answered that question, but I couldn't specify exactly what it is.
Thank you.
Councillor Giles.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for this. I just want to ask a question in relation to drug use. I live in the other corner of the city, and that's southwest, and in the same sort of time frame you've been talking about, we've had a massive increase in meth use in the city. Do you think some of the behaviour is related to pushes in the area, to the use of meth as opposed to other drugs? Have you seen an increase in drug use?
We've seen people increasingly find spots to take the drugs. In answer to that about is it the pushes, I'm not really sure. I wouldn't know how to answer that. But so the rough sleepers or
Point of order, Acting Lord Mayor. I don't think this is an appropriate question to ask someone who's come in to do a deputation about something else and for him to answer on the floor. I just thought I'd flag it with you just to see what your thought. No, and it's fair enough. I just don't. He might be in an uncomfortable position, having come here to do something.
I do agree that this is borderline, and that this is actually entering into a debate on this.
Yeah, sure.
Acting Lord Mayor, I just was interested in why the behaviour's changed. Like, you know, people have been homeless for a long time in the city, but has there been, in your experience, been an increase in violence related to drug use?
The only thing I would say there is I don't think the deputy is equipped to answer that question. So, and I think we'd be putting him in a difficult situation because as he said, he's not an expert in this field. Councillor Snake.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor, and I'm deeply sympathetic to what you're experiencing, and I do acknowledge it as a problem in the city. We have just recently passed our budget, and it was quite a tight budget. Something like this would have creation of a new force, a new patrol by council would have a significant price tag attached to it.
Point of order, Lord Mayor. The report hasn't come back to council. We don't know what the budget is. We're making assumptions on what the cost will be.
Yes, my question would be, is acknowledging that there would be a cost, a significant cost borne to council. Is there an expectation from yourself and others in the community, if we were to do this, that rates would rise to cover that cost? Or how?
Yeah. Point of order, Lord Mayor, Acting Lord Mayor. I think that is a question that cannot be answered to the deputation person that's presenting the deputation. He's merely saying what he's experiencing on the street. To actually throw a question like that means that he's entering into a debate in regards to our budget, and that's inappropriate.
I think the council is speculative to that. So, yes, I agree. Councillor Freeman.
Thank you for sharing. Sorry, excuse me. I think I need to dissent on your ruling on that point of order. On what basis is that decision made?
Sorry, what decision was that?
the one where you refused the deputy to answer the question that was asked, it's quite a valid question. A ratepayer is allowed to answer whether they're happy to see an increased rate or an increase in service. That is exactly what ratepayers are here for.
I think my advice is that it is an improper question, and I agree.
I'd like to seek to dissent from the floor on that ruling.
Have you got a seconder? We have a
I'm just going to
seconder.
get a glass of water.
Can we vote on the dissent? This is the first. All in favour? Against? Lost. Dissent.
I just have a point of order. I understand you've called it lost, but there were actually quite a few members who didn't vote at all. I'm just wondering, as the chair, if you could make sure that members are voting.
I think I counted quite accurately. So we can actually call it again. All in favour of the dissent?
Members, the vote you're being asked, there's been a movement for dissent about a ruling by the presiding member. Dissent has been moved regarding the ruling. It's been moved and seconded. You're being asked to vote whether you support the dissent or not.
All in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4. Against? Or 5. We continue. Councillor Freeman.
Thank you, Acting Lord Mayor. And I'm very sorry to hear about your experience as well as what you're experiencing right now. I wanted to ask about, you mentioned the Hutt Street Centre does close and it closes at 4:30, I understand. Are you noticing that it really is during night time, during those hours of closure, that these issues are most prevalent, or is it throughout the day?
It's actually during the day, and I believe the bigger problem is during the day when people's businesses are trading. I mean, even on Friday, there was someone camped out the front of the Japanese restaurant, and we were there doing some cleaning, and I said, look, they were about to open, because I know the Japanese, the owners of the Japanese restaurant, who had both 2 windows smashed in the last 2 months, are very, very scared. And I just asked the general, I said, look, I'm really sorry, can you move on? So all he did was move on to the next shop, and I thought, oh, I just can't do that anymore. You just go a few metres down, and I can't argue with them. It's not my job to argue with them, and I can't, because their behaviour is volatile, and that's the point that most businesses are finding. It's volatile behaviour. They're scared, and all their belongings are sitting outside a shop that's opened. So it's not a great look. So people will avoid those businesses and so on and so forth. Any more questions? No? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Theodorikakos.
Thank you.
Mr. Stephen Fisher.
Good evening, council members. Thank you for letting me speak tonight on such an important motion. My name is Stephen Fisher, and I'm the president of what's commonly known as the Parents and Friends Committee, but we affectionately known as the Hearts and Hands Committee. I sat down and spent a lot of time working out what to say and how to articulate it, especially considering the importance of this. I knew there would be pleas around supporting this motion from students, from parents, from teachers, which are all unique, and every story and close encounter or near miss should be heard. I thought about talking on how personally myself and 2 daughters, 9 and 11, respectively, had cars speed up, go through red lights and nearly clean us up. Or how drivers text and drive straight through red lights without hesitation, and how gross inattention can be life-changing. But I won't. I will ask, though, for a quick show of hands so please bear with me for 2 seconds, on who has been out front of St Mary's and either had a near miss themselves or seen one. Please, show of hands. It was loaded. No, but I think it comes to speak the truth. Thank you. Out of those that did show their hands, I could tell you a story about the family from school that was involved in a tragic accident, about where their sibling and a friend was struck on a crossing at a school only a few years ago, but I won't. That's not my story to tell. Out of respect to the family, though, I do wish to acknowledge the pain that has been witnessed firsthand. I do wish to now pivot slightly to the other side of the conversation. Who drives? To work, to sport, on holidays. Humour me again, please, show of hands. Who here drives? Again, thank you. Now close your eyes. You won't, and that's okay. It feels awkward. Who is this guy making me do hands up, hands down? No eyes closed, but yes, one last thing, I promise we'll get there. Imagine driving to work. It's warm, summer morning, music on in the background. Not too loud, because we are responsible, but enough to enjoy. Heading in, you've just turned left onto Great Street. The coffee you've just put back down into your cup holder is hot. A little hotter than normal, but still. The golden elms are in full bloom, beautiful and green. Bang! What was that? You look back and you've hit something. What was it? A pothole? Surely, you were paying attention. You weren't speeding. Your heart is racing. You pull over, only to realise that you have not hit something, but someone. A student, a sibling, a daughter. What happens? Where do they come from? The light was green? Or was it? Maybe the tree was green. You don't remember seeing any signage. Was there a sign? So many emotions, feelings and thoughts to process. Let's come back to this meeting. All of these emotions and much more from the steering wheel side. How do you live the fact that you have done or nearly done? Does the regret live with you forever? Does it not only change and impact the life of the victim, what about the driver, the driver's family? There are always two sides that are potentially impacted. This motion is about protecting not just the students and the St Mary's community, but it is also about protecting the wider Adelaidean community. As both a parent and someone who uses the area daily, I would not, in my good conscience, be able to face myself if I did not do everything in my ability to help support this motion. Please, now I ask you, the council members who have either held up their hands themselves or witnessed a hand up, the ones that have the ability to protect and make changes, I please call you to action to support tonight's motion, make our streets and students that much more a little bit safer. Thank you and good evening.
Mr Fisher, we actually have a question from Councillor Snape.
Thank you. And school road safety has been a big concern of mine and many others in this chamber as well. So broadly speaking, 100% agree that this needs to change before there is an accident. I'm just reading some of the information from the administration in this motion now. And my concern is that part C and D around the 40 kilometre and the red traffic lights could actually impact on our previous commitment for a 25 kilometre an hour school zone. And so that's really concerning to myself. What is your thoughts on that? Would you prefer a 25 kilometre per hour speed zone or a 40 kilometre speed zone as proposed in the motion?
Look, to be honest, personally, as a parent, I'd always like to see slower is better, right? But understanding that there's constraints about what can be done and what council has before them in front. I think ideally that a change now needs to happen instead of pushing it further back. I think a change needs to happen.
I understand that, and I completely agree. Just my concern is that with this motion we actually go from a commitment of 25 kilometres an hour to 40, which in my view is a retrograde, it's a step backwards. And so there's elements of this motion that I support, and there's elements because of that it's actually make it less safe. I have concerns about this motion, I suppose, and not with the intent, not with the intent of the motion, which I think we share. That.
What happens if we delay it? What happens if we delay the motion? How long do we wait? We've already waited 2 years. Do we wait another 2 years? How long do we wait? Is it until someone's here and the incident
I'm certainly not suggesting delaying it. I'm suggesting that there's elements of this motion that are actually opposed to what the community is after.
Councillor Davis.
I mean, I feel like the councillor is just debating the deputy rather than asking a question and trying to justify a position or workshop a position. I'd suggest we just keep it to questions, and if you'd like to meet with the deputy or the school, I'm sure they'll meet with you after.
I agree. Councillor Green.
Thank you for your deputation. St Mary's has a frontage on both Franklin and Grote. Well, I know the access is from both roads.
Yep.
And both have a pedestrian crossing at the moment. And it's, I don't want to ask you to compare the two, but of Franklin and Grote, is one of those streets really just more unsafe than the other?
Unfortunately, no. They are both as dangerous as each other. For those that have witnessed it, and again, I've been on the Franklin Street, I can honestly put my hand on it and say that I haven't been on the Grote Street, but I have heard from parents. Obviously, part of my role as the president is hearing stories from all parents, and it sounds like, to be honest, that both sides are as bad, as dangerous as each other. So I suppose that's why we're trying to do what we can to increase the safety around the school. It's okay.
Fisher.
Thank you.
Mrs. Julia Anderson.
Good evening, Acting Lord Mayor and councillors. My name is Julia Anderson and I'm speaking on behalf of the parents and girls attending St Mary's College. My daughter, Adelaide Anderson, is in Year 4 at St Mary's College and has attended the school since reception in 2022. To be completely honest, I'm perplexed as to why we're having to address this matter so late in the game. The school travel safety review was commissioned, completed and presented to council. It identified serious traffic and pedestrian safety issues around St Mary's College and provided clear recommendations. As a parent who navigates Franklin Street and Grote Street daily, I can assure you these concerns are not theoretical. They are real, they are visible, and they affect hundreds of girls and families every single school day. What confuses me the most is that other schools in the Adelaide CBD and surrounding areas appear to have stronger traffic protections already in place. Schools such as Poltling Grammar and Sturt Street Community School benefit from more extensive school zone measures and traffic calming infrastructure. As parents, we struggle to understand why St Mary's students deserve any less. This discussion is not about convenience, it's about safety. The recommendations before council are practical, reasonable and based on evidence. Curb build-outs at Grote Street crossing would prevent motorists from misusing the cycle lane and shouldering as a turning lane. A solid white line in Franklin Street would help stop dangerous U-turns. A 40-kilometre school zone would slow traffic where children are most vulnerable as a start, and 25 would be even better if it could be implemented later. Pursuing red light cameras would provide another layer of protection and accountability. We see red light runners daily and it's only a matter of time before there is a serious incident. None of these measures are radical. They're common sense initiatives designed to reduce risk before a tragedy occurs. As parents, we teach our children to stop, look, listen, use crossings correctly and follow the rules. Yet every day they are exposed to drivers who speed, run red lights, make sudden U-turns and ignore existing controls. We can only ask so much of our 9 and 10-year-old children, and some are even younger. The environment around them must also be designed to keep them safe. I'm particularly encouraged by the request for immediate low-cost actions. Installing advisory signage, refreshing faded line markings, clearing vegetation that obstructs visibility and strengthening enforcement can all be undertaken while longer-term approvals are pursued. If there are actions that can be taken now, then they should be taken now. The question I ask councillors tonight is simple. If the risks have already been identified and the solutions have already been recommended, what justification is there for further delay? We should not be waiting for a serious injury to validate what the review has already told us. As a parent, I want my daughter and every child at St Mary's to be able to travel to and from school safely. As a community, we have a responsibility to create streets that prioritise children over traffic convenience. And as a council, you have the opportunity to demonstrate that road safety recommendations are not simply acknowledged, they are acted upon. I respectfully urge council to support the implementation pathway, prioritise recommended safety measures, and ensure that St Mary's College receives the same level of protection same level of protection expected for school children anywhere else in Adelaide. Thank you for your time.
And we have Catherine Rava.
Good evening, Acting Lord Mayor and councillors. My name is Catherine Rava and I work at St Mary's College. So tonight I'm speaking on behalf of all the staff. Thank you for providing me the opportunity to speak tonight about child road safety at St Mary's. Child safety at St Mary's is paramount. So as a staff, we must do everything we can to provide this on and off campus at all times. Each Monday, I complete crossing duty for 20 minutes in the afternoon at dismissal time on the Grote Street crossing. You may think this period of time is not enough for me to speak on the subject, but as I continue, I hope I will change your mind. Each week, on this one day, at least one car goes through the red lights as students are crossing. Some weeks, it can be as many as 3 or 4. Drivers do not have any warning leading up to the crossing other than the lights changing. Please remember, the speed limit is 50 kilometres an hour, so they are approaching the crossing at significant speed. I have witnessed cars drive straight through when all the other traffic is stopped. The last week of term 2, 2 cars collided as neither of them had noticed the lights change, and the front car was pushed into the crossing by the car behind as they both slammed on their brakes at the last minute. I cannot describe the feeling of watching this happen as students were crossing the road and feeling completely helpless. It happens so quickly. I have seen cars drive up on the bus lane and through a red light. They would not see the students due to the other traffic that has stopped. I see bicycles going through the red lights. Recently, my own experience has been crossing to the car park and a van screaming to a halt at the last minute. I stopped at the median strip because I saw him coming, I knew he wasn't going to stop in time, and I held up my hand. Students, unfortunately, are not that observant. Another morning, I was about to step off the curb and a bus came straight through the red light. If I'd been a second earlier, I would have been a statistic. Many staff have similar stories of crossing at the Grote Street pedestrian lights. Staff grabbing students and pulling them back from the traffic that is not stopping has occurred more than once. There are many factors: trees obscuring the lights, traffic focused on the green light at West Terrace that they don't want to miss, inattention, not enough warning, and the speed limit leading up to the lights. I remember the tragedy at the school in the eastern suburbs, thinking at the time this could so easily be St Mary's College. The impact only one accident would have on the community is immeasurable, and change needs to happen before a tragedy changes our community forever. I ask that the speed limit be reduced, warning lights at school times be installed, and even cameras. I respectfully urge the City of Adelaide to prioritise these safety measures to ensure a safer environment for all students, families and members of the community. Thank you in advance for supporting the safety and wellbeing of our college community. I appreciate your time and good evening.
Thank you. And thank you for all the people that have done deputations tonight. I know that it's not an easy feat. So now I actually seek leave of the meeting to bring forward 17.3 Chinatown Precinct Asset Renewal Timing, 17.4 State Government Homelessness, and 17.5 St Mary's Traffic Safety Recommendations. Can I have a mover and second? Oh, show of hands. All I need is a show of hands. Carried. Thank you. 17.3. Councillor Kabata. Have you got a seconder? Councillor Davis. Councillor Kabata, would you speak to it, please?
Yes, thank you, Acting Lord Mayor. I've just got a couple of questions for administration. What will determine whether construction happens in the 27-28 or 28-29 financial year, and what would be required to make it earlier rather than later?
Through the presiding member, Mr Macready.
Through the Acting Lord Mayor, in relation to the question, first of all, we've got a design component that we'd need to undertake. That's the most important piece, and naturally we need council approval in regards to a budget once that design is finalised and the estimated costs are presented to council.
Thank you for the answer. Acting Lord Mayor, I'll move the motion before us. Chinatown sits at the centre of the biggest wave of investment this side of Adelaide has ever seen. $400 million market square development completes this year, and it is forecasted to lift people who go there to around 10 million people annually. Council's $15 million Goodger Street revitalisation is in construction, and private owners are about to invest around $9 million upgrading Chinatown Market Plaza. One building holding 68 tenancies in there. But here is the gap. The Goodger Street project excludes the connecting side streets. California Street North and South were last upgraded around 1980. That's about 46 years old. And until a couple of months ago, when I and a few other council members and community started asking questions, we're not scheduled for renewal at all. The 2024 Asset Management Plan gave them more than 5 years of life. Now, I do acknowledge administration's response. Both streets are now in the 4-year renewal program designed starting this financial year. That is a good outcome, and it shows what happens when you advocate for things. But a 2-year construction window is not certainty, and Chinatown traders deserve certainty. This motion locks in 3 things: clear delivery timing, coordination with Goodger Street and Market Square, so the precinct ensures 1 period of disruption instead of 3, and the option to bring work forward where conditions, safety or businesses impacts warranted. These businesses can plan around 1 construction period, but they shouldn't have to go around 2 or 3. And they should be able to welcome 10 million people annually into their shopping precinct. So I commend the motion before council, and I hope all councillors support it.
Are you actually moving what was printed or what is actually on the screen, which is an amendment?
I did have a variation, yeah.
And your seconder? Okay, so this is the motion that we're speaking to. Councillor Davis? Members? Councillor Giles?
I just have a question about G. Does G enable a report to be made on all streets connected to the Goodger Street revitalisation project, including streets like Compton Street? Is that, I suppose through the chair asking or is it only looking at those specific streets? Because in my view, Compton Street is the worst street in that region. So.
Through the presiding member, G, as currently articulated, is specifically focused on California Street North and California Street South.
Councillor Martin, did you?
Look, I'm a bit confused about this Acting Lord Mayor, and I hope the administration can help me. As I understand it, the proposal is that there be a report targeting, and its first cab off the rack, public realm asset upgrades to Moonta Street. And yet, am I correct in understanding, contrary to the deputation to council saying that we needed work on Moonta Street, that it was upgraded in 2021?
Through the presiding member, that is the advice before the chamber, that there was an upgrade to Moonta Street in 2021.
And could the administration advise what that cost was? I can't quite remember.
Through the presiding member, Mr Macready.
Through the presiding member, the costs were in the region of $2 million plus in regards to that street, which involved a full pavement readjustment in regards to granite paving, plus lighting and making good of painting and fixed assets.
So the motion requires an upgrade, a report on an upgrade to Moonta Street on the 2021 upgrade, and then it asks for an acceleration of what's been proposed by the administration, which is design work for California Street in 26-27 and a construction program that's occurring in 27, 28, 28, 29.
Through the presiding member, that's not my reading of the motion before the chamber.
What is your reading, CEO, to help me?
Okay, so clause 3 asks for some advice around the current asset condition and the renewal timing for Moonta Street, California Street North, California Street South. The 4G arm asks for some specific advice about what would be required to target construction of California Street North and South in the 27-28 financial year.
Well, I think that's my problem here. I'm reading 4.6 of the administration's comment, and I understand that that has already been prioritised, that in 26-27 there will be design, and 27-28 will be the beginning of construction. This is asking for a report on what the council has already agreed to do. Is that correct? Am I understanding this? 4.6 seems pretty clear. That is to say, the administration has said Moonta Street was upgraded in 2021, 5 years ago. I don't know in asset management planning terms, but I guess 20 years from now it should be ready for another upgrade. And the administration has said, yes, you're right, we've had a look at California Street. We're doing design on that in this current financial year, 26-27. We're undertaking to start construction in 27-28. And Councillor Cabata's report asks that you give him a report on what you've already agreed to do. Is that, am I understanding things or am I confused?
Through the presiding member, the advice at 4.6 of the administration comment is the professional advice of your administration. I don't propose to enter debate regarding the motion.
Well, thank you, CEO. Look, Acting Lord Mayor, given that this matter is dealt with by the administration, I move that this matter lie on the table.
Have you got a seconder for that?
Well, I don't think I need
I think it was Councillor Snape.
that's procedural, so it goes.
Yes, yes. So actually, end of debate, it actually goes to a vote. All in favour? Against? Carried. Division? Division has been called. Can the people who supported it stand, please?
Councillor Martin. No. Councillor Martin, Councillor Snape, Councillor Giles, Councillor Freeman, Councillor Marr.
Thank you, members.
And you've got to call it again. You have to call it again. It's carried. You have to call it carried.
Carried.
Thank you.
Okay, we now go on to 17.4, State Government Homelessness, State Government Immediate Action Support. Councillor Cabata. Have you a seconder?
I'm happy to second if you want.
Before the debate, Acting Lord Mayor, I might just declare a general conflict of interest. I've filled out the paperwork. I will remain in the room and participate in the debate and the vote.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Just a couple of questions. The Lord Mayor wrote to the Premier on the 22nd of April. It is now the 14th of July. Has the state government responded?
Sorry, Councillor Kabata, seconded. Councillor Davis. Can you continue?
Yes, Lord Mayor, of course. So the Lord Mayor wrote to the Premier on the 22nd of April. It is now the 14th of July. Has the state government responded to the letter sent by the Lord Mayor?
Through the presiding member, I don't believe we've received a response.
Thank you. Do we have an estimate number of how many people are currently sleeping rough in the city, and is that number expected to rise this winter?
Through the presiding member, the chamber has received a fulsome report on the state of homelessness in the city on at least 2 recent occasions. I don't have the numbers before me. I think it's in the order of 200.
Thank you, CEO. And just lastly, beyond the letters we sent to the state government, will administration raise this directly through the Capital City Committee?
Through the presiding member, the agenda for the Capital City Committee is agreed between the Department of Premier and Cabinet and the Office of the Lord Mayor. We will suggest that the matter is considered as part of the agenda.
Thank you, CEO. Yesterday morning on Rundle Street, outside the Hungry Jacks, a young woman was sleeping near the doors, her dog next to her, in July, in the coldest month of the year. And it is not an isolated site. I see people sleeping in doorways on Hutt Street, meters from the services trying to help them. I see tents in the parklands. Every member of this chamber has seen the same, because it is everywhere. On any given night, between 150 and 200 people sleeping rough in and around the city. Nearly 2/3 of every rough sleeper in South Australia is here, in the 1 square mile we govern, this winter, with cold blue nights already cold. And it breaks my heart. And I know it breaks the hearts across people in this chamber. We can do better, and we must do better. And here's the frustration. We can solve this. Since 2018, the Adelaide Zero project has housed more than 1,100 people and around 90% stayed housed. The model works. The scale of the response is what fails, because the big levers, housing, crisis accommodation, mental health, drug and alcohol support, sit with the state. Council resolved to advocate for it in February. The Lord Mayor wrote to the Premier in April. We're still waiting, and the answer to silence is not to stop asking, it is to ask louder, with more behind it. To those suggesting we wait for the round table, the motion already does. The letter after the 6th of August carrying the recommendations of Human Services, Health, Corrections and the Housing Trust will be sent after the round table. A letter backed by that room is much harder to file away. Tonight simply authorises and asks for practical things, more crisis accommodation, outreach, after hours and weekends, real coordination and a clear state plan with timeframes, because timeframes is what we need. That young woman on Rundle Street deserves more than our sympathy. She deserves a system that knows her name and have somewhere to go as well. I commend this motion to Council.
Councillor Davis, would you like to speak to the motion? Councillor Giles.
I rise to speak about this motion. This is an issue that has become, as has been described by the deputation today, I would say in the last 12 months has become quite has become a worse issue, not just in relation to homelessness. I think in the last 12 months, there's been some policy decisions that the state government has made that has actually made things worse. That's why I'm interested in thinking about supporting this motion, because except that we do also need to take some advice from the discussion. I think we do need to raise it with the police on our regular meeting, and we do need to discuss it with the service providers who will come along to the homelessness roundtable. But I just want to point out some of the complexities of this issue, having been attempting to try and resolve some issues in the part of the city that I live in, which is in the southwest corner. In the southwest corner, we have a large number of services around Whitmore Square, in particular the Sobering Up unit, which is run by the Salvos in a corner right next to a large apartment block where there are young families living. The state government for many years for 5 years, has had a needle exchange program within that Sobering Up unit, but it suddenly got extremely worse. So at a time when we didn't really notice the needle exchange program, when meth became an issue in our state and the drug taking has significantly increased, and the type of drug that meth is, what we're now seeing is that Sobering Up unit has become almost like a honeypot to vulnerable communities, including people who are visiting the city from remote areas, but also including people who are homeless and are on the streets. So that's one sort of policy issue that we have as a community in that corner of the city, tried to get the government to shift the safe injecting. It's not safe injecting. It's needle exchange, which is not really exchanging. It's just like handing clean needles, an important health issue, to people out of a Sobering Up unit where people are connected to the drug and alcohol issue. As well as that, when there were some issues that have directly affected the members of Parliament, the people that worked in Parliament, the state government response was to create a special policing zone around North Terrace, between West Terrace and Pulteney Street, towards Curry Street, which has got special police powers, and establish Edwards Park in the southwest of the corner, which is an area for people who are in the city for a range of reasons, including
Councillor
hospital.
Giles, do you need extra time?
Yeah, I do.
All in favour? Approve.
Who are visiting for a range of reasons, including health and legal reasons, that has been now closed by the state government. And so, though, once again, more vulnerable people on the streets that had a place to go to, and so no alternative about having somewhere like a hostel where those people could sleep. So we are in the city of Adelaide in a position where state government decisions have impacted enormously on what is happening in our streets. If you make a special policing zone and you've got drug pushers that are preying on vulnerable communities, they'll move to where they can get customers, and they can get customers in the south of the city because there's too many policing powers in the north of the city. So my point here is that at the moment there seems to be a perfect storm. People in my community are talking about moving out because it's just too difficult. Very good people who are sympathetic and understand the complexity of poverty and homelessness just don't want to walk their child down a street with like 10 needles on the ground. So I think we need to think about this issue in a really holistic way that shows the complexity of it, and we actually pull together those groups and as a local council and listen to our homelessness roundtable, listen to the police who are frustrated as well, and then take that message to the state government that you can't make a policy change about one problem without looking at the whole complexity of how these problems connect with each other. And now, I've read that in the newspaper that in Daily that they intend to keep the special policing powers in the north of the city, but they've removed the special project in the south from police funding. So another problem. So we now have large numbers of people taking drugs in the daylight, sitting outside a Sobering Up unit, injecting themselves. And it's a problem. It's a terrible problem. No one wants to live like that. So let's I suppose what I'm saying is I totally support the direction of this, but I'm wondering whether we should just wait a bit to get all the information before we write to the Premier.
Thank you, Councillor Giles. Councillor Freeman.
Thank you, Acting Lord Mayor. I'm in furious agreement with the mover that this is a growing problem and really urgent for us to do something about. I do query the benefit of sending another letter, noting this will immediately follow the homelessness roundtable, but I mean, I'm not sure why this motion is coming before we've had that roundtable, which would define what we'd actually send a letter about. I did just want to speak briefly to correct some of the language that the mover used, which was we as a council can solve this issue. We cannot, as a local government, solve this issue. We can yell louder, and I completely agree with that, and sending a letter does yell louder that we think this is really important and we'd love the state government to take it seriously, but we cannot solve it. And I wanted to say that because I do think if we don't make that clear, there is a misunderstanding that this council is not doing something about an issue that we recognise. And the other thing I do think we can do is maybe raise awareness of what actually is out there to support homelessness. I've had a few people contact me saying, how do I report that I've just walked past someone who's been sleeping there for 2 days? They didn't know there's a website you can log a location. They didn't know there's cards you can hand out. Maybe we are not marketing that well enough. I think we can do a lot better, and I really look forward to discussing that at the roundtable.
We actually do have a timing issue, so I'm going to pass to the CEO for comment.
Through the presiding member, the debate thus far has commented on the timing of the letter, but that's not incorporated in the motion at point 4. If it is the intent of the mover that the letter is crafted after the homeless roundtable, I can provide assistance.
Yes, that would be good, CEO. Thank you.
And seconder, are you happy with that?
So through the presiding member, at 4, requests that the Lord Mayor, after the comma, insert following the scheduled 6th of August 26 homelessness roundtable. Put another comma in, and I think that's clear.
That makes all the difference. Councillor Snape.
Thank you, Acting Lord Mayor, and thank you to all the speakers so far, including the mover. I will support this. While I do question the effectiveness of letter writing to the Premier, I have been the initiator of a fair few of those myself, and I just feel, we've got to try. There's no point not trying. We're not a service provider. We're not a service provider. The Lord Mayor's roundtables are an important part of what we can do and bringing people together, facilitating genuine conversation and hopefully genuine action as a result of that. And we do provide funding for our budget, I believe, for I think it's homelessness, zero homelessness, and things such as that. So there are things we can do, but we are very, very limited by an issue which is almost entirely within the state purview. Housing, health, mental health, all comes in at the state level, which have a significantly higher budget and staffing and level of expertise than this council does, although we certainly try our best. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try. That doesn't mean we shouldn't try. And so to echo what Councillor Freeman has said, there is that limit. I think this is an important token. As I said, I do question its effectiveness, but it's if we want to look like we're doing something, I guess this is a way of doing that, and hopefully. Having, I should assume that the previous letters have been ignored, but having not responded to previous letters, hopefully we'll get a response this time.
Councillor Abrahimzadeh.
Thank you, Acting Lord Mayor. I do rise in support of this motion, and having listened to other members debate their point of views and what they see as issues, one thing that hasn't been mentioned so far, Acting Lord Mayor, is one level of government which provides the significant amount of funding when it comes to social housing and homelessness, and that is the federal government. And they do that through the National Agreement on Social Housing and Homelessness, otherwise known as NASH. Now, this is a good motion. I think it gets state government to think about the issue. But I think if we want to be more effective and maybe have a more united voice in raising this issue more broadly, is to maybe look at things, look at some other avenues, such as the CCCLM or the LGA. All you have to do is go to the other side of the parklands. You can go to Norwood, you can go to Unley, you can go to Bowden Brompton, Prospect, Mile End. Go to those areas and you'll see that the issue is not unique to the City of Adelaide, and that the issue has spread out beyond the parklands. So whilst I commend the motion before us, I also think that if we really do want to tackle this more broadly, and I guess, for us to really approach this as not just the City of Adelaide, but as a sector, I think we ought to think about how we can approach it through CCCLM, maybe the Capital City Committee, and maybe the LGA. But maybe this is good enough. Let's get the conversation started. Let's see what the roundtable brings, and let's see how else we can raise awareness going forward.
Councillor Davis.
I'm a little bit concerned about some of the comments about there's nothing the council can do. In a report by the federal government, 41% of homelessness was due to financial difficulties, and 36% was around housing affordability. So that's really about 77% of homelessness comes down to money problems. Now, as compared to 4 years ago as to now, the council has raised an extra $65 million a year, every year. So if it comes to what the council can do, we can have a significant impact on reducing people's money difficulties. And to say that it's all somebody else's fault, there is absolutely things within our capacity. It's not to the same extent as state government, of course, but just passing the buck, and every new motion that comes in here to spend more money willy-nilly, regardless of what it is, without a business case, without looking at it, has an impact on homelessness. Sorry, I'm being interrupted by Councillor Snape. The other thing is, Councillor Giles was quite right when she talked about drug use and increase in that. And if you look at the wastewater data in relation to ketamine, cocaine and methamphetamine, there's been a significant increase in the use of those drugs. And often I think that those drugs are used as an escape for financial pressures that occur. So, and we've seen, there is a lot that the City Council can do. There's a lot within our control. It all has an impact, and the City's financial impact on homelessness is not to be sniffed at. $65 million a year is a significant increase, well above CPI. So we need to do our part and acknowledge that part in it, and I do. I acknowledge the role that council plays in homelessness, but we do need to, as those closest to the people, we should absolutely be writing to the state government about this when we see matters get more severe, more aggressive, and to that part that we do have an important role to play under the Act in respect of notifying the state government.
Councillor Couros.
Thank you, Acting Lord Mayor. I mean, forgive me if I say this. I mean, I appreciate the motion. I'll be supporting the motion, but I do feel like a little bit it's Groundhog Day. We have done these sort of motions over and over again, and I acknowledge that everyone is, trying to do something, and I appreciate that. But I am intrigued by Councillor Abrahimzadeh's what he just said, and I'm just wondering, as a question to administration. Do we do that? Do we work with other council areas and unite together to be a bigger force? Because this is becoming an issue across our state. It is bigger than us. It is a very complex issue. It is involving the government that we do require their support. So is that work being done, just out of interest? Because that's the first time I've actually heard of that.
CEO, would you like to comment?
Through the presiding member, there is an opportunity through our membership of the LGA to raise awareness of issues that are common to a number of councils, be that metropolitan councils or the broader sector. I'm not aware of any agenda items on local government association gay rock meetings regarding the matter of homelessness, but I'd be happy to provide an undertaking to understand that.
Appreciate that, CEO. I'm not trying to pursue an avenue which might give more of a load of work to administration, because I know they do work very hard in this space, and they do take all my calls, and I acknowledge that in regards to trying to help and support the homelessness that I see on the street, but there's only limited that they can do. So I do appreciate if we can go down that avenue, and maybe we can do on a more broader space, because I'm telling you, it's getting really tiring to do motion after motion and trying to get people, the government to listen. It's really getting to a point where, we need to be drastic in this space.
Thank you, Councillor Couros, and we have that undertaking. Councillor Martin. Okay.
Just a question about the round table. Who has been invited to that?
CEO?
Through the presiding member, Mr. Harides might be a little bit more familiar with the invitation list.
Thank you, and through the chair, without giving you the exhaustive list, the invitation has been extended to relevant ministers, CEOs of state government departments and senior officials in state government, representatives from the homelessness sector, service providers. On this occasion as well, given this is the fourth roundtable of this term of council, we've also extended an invitation to retailers and property owners within particular precincts who are having challenges with experiencing homelessness, as well as staff from the City of Adelaide. So a broad spectrum of invitations.
And would the, again through you, Chair, would the typical operation of a roundtable result in some sort of document outcome signed by all participants, or at least an agreement? A statement of position, perhaps?
CEO?
Through the presiding member, I'm sure the intent is that a memorandum of some description will follow the closure of the roundtable, and I'd also suggest that that would provide additional information that could be included in the requested letter of the Lord Mayor to the Premier.
You read my mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Martin, you changed your mind.
Yeah, look, I'd like to ask a question of the administration. Councillor Cavada's motion doesn't mention it, but the state government has undertaken a comprehensive review of homelessness systems in the City of Adelaide, and that report was completed on the 30th of June. It will be delivered, I understand, in the next couple of weeks. Ahead of this letter demanding more assistance for the homeless, I understand the state budget proposed a $6 million increase into CBD specialist homelessness services. Could the administration provide some illumination, if it has any, about what those measures are and the way in which it might inform a letter of this nature?
CEO?
Through the presiding member, My understanding is that the announced funding of $6 million was a reaffirmation of a prior commitment and is not new money.
Do we understand anything further about the nature of the reforms that have been proposed in that report? Indeed, have we seen the report or its recommendations?
Through the presiding member, I know we've been promised access to a copy of the report. I'm not aware as to whether Mr Herodes is shaking his head. We have not yet seen the report.
I wonder, Acting Lord Mayor, whether the mover might consider incorporating a request to government to view that report to understand its recommendations rather than simply demand action.
Would it be better to get the report before the homeless round table so it would inform discussion?
Well, the next question is, would it be better to send the letter after we actually understand what's in the report and after we've participated in the homelessness roundtable and understood what, in fact, that might resolve?
Through the presiding member, not wanting to enter debate, but that is certainly the intent. Receipt of the report will be an important input into the roundtable. We'll reinforce that with the responsible government department and stress that, noting that we're inviting state government chief executives to that roundtable meeting.
So would it be possible then, and I'm asking the administration, in order to provide a more informed letter rather than saying, help us, state government, to rescind this if we vote for it and then draft another letter later on?
Through the presiding member, I think the administration's got a pretty broad expression or a pretty broad scope in terms of what the letter will follow. Importantly, it needs to be consistent with the outcomes of the Lord Mayor's Homelessness Roundtable. That will provide new information that may not have been available when the Lord Mayor wrote in April. Additionally, the opportunity to comment on the state government report would include additional information. I can give a clear undertaking that those matters will be considered in the crafting of the letter.
Oh, well, then, thank you for that undertaking. That changes everything.
Terrific. Any more questions, comments? Councillor Cabada, would you like to sum up?
I think we've heard everything Acting Lord Mayor summed up.
I will put that motion to a vote. All in favour? Against? Carried unanimously. I'll move on to 17.5, which is the St Mary's traffic safety recommendations. Councillor Cabada, is there a seconder?
Sorry, Acting Lord Mayor, could I interrupt to just declare a conflict that I forgot to at the start of the meeting? Just reading this again, realising it requests action from the Department for Infrastructure and Transport, which is my primary employer. I'm declaring a general conflict with this item. These are not matters I have involvement with, so we'll participate in the debate and vote.
Councillor Davis, seconder. Councillor Cabada, would you speak to your motion?
Thank you. I just made a quick variation to my motion based on Councillor Snape's comments. I've changed it to 25 kilometres an hour instead of 40, also just after hearing the deputation. In 2024, at this council's request, a school travel safety review was carried out at St Mary's College. It found serious traffic and pedestrian safety issues on Franklin Street and Grove Street. That is what the review said, not my words. We are now in July 2026 and the physical upgrade to those crossings are programmed for 27, 28, possibly 28, 29. Think about what that means. A student who started at St Mary's when those streets were identified will have finished school, graduated and moved on before the crossings she walked over every single day are actually fixed. Her whole high school life, crossing a road we knew was dangerous. And I want to be fair, because there has been genuine progress and I acknowledge the administration for it. Parking controls have improved, drop-off and pick-ups, vegetation and blocking sidelights have been pruned, and the traffic impact statements for the school zones with the Department for Infrastructure and Transport as well. And we've also secured $435,000 through the federal grant towards safer crossings. Now, I know what some of my colleagues are going to say as they stand up. They're going to point out that a school travel safety workshop is scheduled for next Tuesday, and that is welcome. But a workshop is a conversation. A motion is a decision. This motion turns the conversation into commitment, a report within 30 days setting out the funding, the approvals and the delivery pathway for each recommendation with cost, timeframes, and on the public record as well. It also gets things done. It's what we've heard from everyone who has spoken here tonight. They want action. They're sick of being told it's going to happen, not knowing when it's going to happen. Now, the committee said in June last year that school zone advisory signage should be installed as a priority. 13 months later, it is still sitting in preparation. Signage, line marking, enforcement of the existing parking controls. None of this needs a grant or a design phase. It just needs a decision, and tonight we can make it. On red light cameras, the motion does exactly what evidence-based decision-making demands. Before we push DRT and SAPL for cameras, we collect data. A CCTV survey measuring how often drivers actually run those signals. If the numbers are bad, no one can argue with the case. If they are fine, we have spent money to know our students are safer than we feared. Either way, we decide with facts. Acting Lord Mayor, the Pirates of St Mary's should not have to rely on luck at drop-off and pick-up. I myself went out there and met with the principal about 2 weeks ago, and I witnessed in 10 minutes or less 2 near misses. And as I was driving and leaving myself the school, I went through the lights and the lights turned, just stick left for the next 30 seconds.
All in favour? Carried.
As I was driving away, the light turned yellow and then it turned red. And when I looked at the rearview mirror, a car had gone through it. I don't know if they realised or not that the lights were actually red, but in that moment and seeing those 2 near misses made me understand the frustration of the parents who drop the kids off every single day at school must go through, and the fear of trying to send them to school and thinking if they go on their own, am I going to see them when they finish school tonight? I know we've got a lot of other schools that are also asking for things, but how can we deny a school that's come before us asking for help and support that request? I urge all council members to support the motion before us.
Councillor Davis, are you happy with the amendment of 25Ks? Yeah. Would you like to speak to this motion?
May I just ask a question? In relation to a response from DIT, who seemed to be very slow, when did we put in that application for 25 and have we received any response back?
CEO?
Through the presiding member, Mr McCready.
Through the presiding member, we put that application in as soon as council give us the indication that they wish to progress with 25 kilometres or 40, so that's probably around about 8 months ago. We've been progressing with a series of initiatives in regards to those speed reductions where DIT have given tacit approval. We're waiting on final approval, and naturally St Mary's is one of the ones which is one of the first ones off the rank, naturally where they have 2 interfaces, Grove Street being slightly problematic, Franklin being easier to deal with. Within 2 weeks, we're hoping to get an indication, and as indicated on the 21st, next Tuesday, we will be presenting the outcomes.
Oh, hell yeah. Was that for the 25 or 40 tacit approval? Yeah.
Mr McCready.
through the presiding member, the request that we put through was for 25 kilometres. What they have given us indication is that Franklin Street looks likely to be a 25 kilometre during certain times. However, what they did indicate is 25 kilometres probably will not be approved in regards to Growth Street, but 40 would be approved, which is consistent with what their rollout is with other schools. But that will be during a timed period, which is an AM and PM.
Okay, great. All right, yep, thank you.
Councillor Martin.
Acting Lord Mayor, look, I'd like to move that the matter is deferred until the 21st of July when it would be discussed in the context of a review of the school safety traffic management plan.
Have you got a seconder? Councillor Ma? It's a procedural motion, so I'll put that to a...
Motions aren't considered at committee meetings. 21st of July is a committee.
I'm asking that the matter, not the motion, the matter.
Can we do that when we've had so many parents come out to do deputations before us and speak to us, just say lay on the table because they're not important?
Point of order, Acting Lord Mayor. I think Councillor Kabata just interrupted.
I actually did not understand what Councillor Kabata just said, so he would have to repeat. But at this point in time...
I mean, I do have a point of order.
Councillor...
For the last 4 motions, there's been attempts to delay everything to later.
We just voted for the last one.
Moving...
Stick to the facts, Henry.
Sorry, thanks for yelling at me. Sorry, kids, don't accept that behaviour. My question is, can these types of motions be accepted?
Hang on, Acting Lord Mayor. A point of order was moved and now a question is being asked. What is the point of order?
Councillor Davis, what is your point of order against...
I apologise to the gallery for that behaviour. My point of order is it against the guiding principles to constantly delay things when you do
Acting
have...
Lord Mayor, that is not a point of order.
No,
Could you please ask him to sit down?
Councillor Davis, please sit down and let Councillor Martin continue.
Acting Lord Mayor, my proposal is straightforward. I am asking the matter be deferred.
Point of order. It's a formal motion.
Point of order. Councillor Davis, what's your point of order?
It's a formal motion. If it's a formal motion, there's no debate.
I don't understand what this man's talking about. Could you clarify that for me?
Can you please not interrupt? And no. Councillor Martin, can you please continue?
Can I assist the governance? So over the last 4 years we've been here. Formal motions.
Floor, can you please sit down?
Over formal motions.
Sit down.
But I have a point of order.
CEO, if you can please help here.
If I might assist the chamber, a motion to defer is not a procedural motion.
I understand.
It's a motion that needs to be seconded and then voted on.
Correct.
The procedural motion is to adjourn the matter. That's not what I understand Councillor Martin's proposing.
That's correct.
So, noting the comment Councillor Martin has made, deferring the matter to the 21st doesn't particularly help.
Well, CEO, I'm happy to have more helpful words if that would suit.
Okay, so if you're seeking to defer the motion until the council meeting of the 28th of July, that follows the workshop.
Happy to do that. Happy to do that.
But you'll need the support of the chamber to achieve that.
I would like a seconder then.
Can we have a seconder? Councillor Ma?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Acting Lord Mayor, look, this is an incredibly difficult subject. And I know this from personal experience. It was I who moved that we investigated school safety at the very beginning of the term. And it followed representations that had come to me from parents, from schools all over the city. And so we commissioned a report, the report, thorough, I thought essentially doable by this city, turns out to have a price tag of $40 million. $40 million, and the administration says it would take 10 years or more to implement all of it. In the budget process, there was an allocation of $700,000. I managed to persuade everyone to double that to $1.5 million and to try to find some assistance from the state government to make that $3 million. $3 million is a drop in the ocean. It is less than 10% of what's required. And so the task for this council is to understand the anxiety, the genuine fears of people such as those in the gallery tonight and those from other schools. I mean, we had a deputation from North Adelaide Primary School where I thought some of the parents were almost in tears describing the near misses that their children had suffered at the hands of motorists. We've heard the same thing from Sturt Street. And I understand it. I too have children who attended school, and for them every day was a day of anxiety, hoping that they were able to get across a main road, or even under the supervision of teachers, without there being an incident. It's a terrible situation in which we find ourselves. What we're being asked to do tonight, because of the deputation, is, for the sake of the children of St Mary's, is to elevate St Mary's above all of the other schools and all of the other children. And we're being asked, and I think I heard correctly, to understand how we would feel if we didn't support this and something happened to one of those children. And the converse of that is, how would I feel if we allocated a substantial part, if not all of the money available this year to this, and a child at another school suffers some kind of incident? It's an extraordinary dilemma to find yourself in. And so I feel that I need informed professional advice that tells me this school or that school or another school is deserving of the highest possible priority, not on the basis of what, and a conscientious councillor like Councillor Kabata has demonstrated. He's been out and spoken to his school. Not what a conscientious councillor is telling me, not what anxious parents are telling me, and I do understand and I get it and I feel in the same way they do, but I need to have something more than that.
Councillor Martin, do you need more time?
Yes, thank you.
All in favour? Wait a minute, let me just, all in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, carried.
I want the administration to put in front of me all of the information that would enable me to make an informed decision. And if that information says, by the way, St Mary's College is the highest priority and you should overlook all other cases, then that is fine. I accept that. But I also believe that if I accept what's before me, there is a risk I may not be making the right decision, that it might not be an informed decision, that there might not be the professional advice. I need that advice. And the administration has promised that to me on the 21st of April. And what I have proposed is that we hear all that advice, we understand what's being put before us, and then this comes back to us the week after. And if the advice that we get on the 21st is this is the right path, then I will know that I have made that judgment with all of the knowledge available and that I will be making the right judgment. Until then, I can't be certain, and I don't know how anyone else at this table can be.
Councillor Martin, because this is not a procedural motion, we will need to, this will be treated as a deferral, so it will need to be an amendment to the motion. Can I seek the CEO's assistance here?
To the council meeting of 28 July 2026, comma, that. And that links it to the motion as moved and seconded. So you're dealing with an amendment.
Councillor Marr, are you happy with that, seeing you second it? And if you'd like to speak
Yes,
to it.
that's fine. That's the correct sort of way to handle this in terms of the text. I'll speak to it now. The original motion, yes, this is an amendment. The original that we were circulated spoke to a 40 zone on Franklin and red light cameras, and then it was varied to a 25, and we're now amending it again, which includes the varied 25. This is at point 2C. But in the administration comment, it talks about how speed cameras red light cameras are effectively incompatible with the 25 zone. So the motion that we have, until we have amended it now, with the 25 and the speed cameras at 2C and D, would appear to me to be contradictory. And so I need to have that straightened out. And the way that we straighten that out is through the workshop at the following week. I echo Councillor Martin's concerns. There are 11 schools that were part of this under consideration under the school's safety implementation plan. Many of them have appeared before us before with their own deputations. They've sent us emails, they've sent us letters. I've attended different schools. I've attended St Mary's last week and the week before. The week before. I've gone along West Terrace to Adelaide High. I've gone down Sturt Street. I've looked at these places, and the problem that we have, as Councillor Martin points out, is that this is a citywide issue. It's not restricted to just one school. The motion in front of us doesn't acknowledge that we are dealing with a significantly larger problem. On top of all of this, the state government's already rolling out the new 40 zones with the flashing lights where they have a speed camera, or they're rolling out the fixed signage with the different times, the 40 zones at, I think it's 8 till 9:30 and 2 till 4. And we haven't actually had any advice about that in a committee or in a workshop about whether that is something we could be, a train we could be jumping on. Councillor Cabata has asked us to make a decision tonight. We've got the opportunity to make a decision tonight, but we haven't actually had the conversation in full yet. So I can't support this one tonight, which is why we're amending it to defer until after that discussion.
Councillor Snape.
Thank you. I had my hand up.
It was Councillor Snape, Councillor Davis, Councillor Couros and Councillor Freeman.
Thank you, and I'd like to thank the mover for his advocacy in this, and I also would like to thank Councillor Martin, who has been, since my time on council, one of us, if not the strongest advocate of school road safety, and so I appreciate
Point
his
of order.
advocacy.
Point of order, Councillor Couros.
We're talking to the deferral. So
we're talking to the amendment.
Yeah, of the deferral. So that's what meant to be the discussion. So I haven't heard the councillor speak in regards to the deferral in the debate. So yeah, so can speak to the deferral.
I also thank Councillor Couros for her diligence to meeting rules. Deferral. I do support the actions of the original motion, but in regards to deferral, I share the opinion of Councillor Martin and Councillor Marr that we do need to actually sit down and go take this to committee, which is next week. So for those in the gallery, my understanding is if this is deferred, this will be discussed next week in committee and come back to the chamber the week after that. So we are looking at 2 weeks. We're not looking at 2 months. We're not looking at 2 years to consideration of this item. What where I got a bit unstuck, and Councillor Marr has referred to this already, is that thing in regards to 25 to 40, etc., and the results that flow on from that, and the possibility that actually moving this motion could actually provide us with a retrograde step in regards to school safety, in regards to the speed limits. So nutting this out well and truly in committee, I think, is the way forward. Putting our heads together and actually working together as a council to provide the best possible outcome for this school. Also acknowledging, as Councillor Martin has said, we are dealing with 10 other schools, 11 in total, and trying to find a way to equitably support what is an incredibly serious topic. And to be honest, the cure-all to this would be to have significant investment and support from the state government so that we can work together hand in hand with the state government to actually provide the adequate funding support for all of these schools in regards to school safety. But for now, I support the deferral, which is 2 weeks to council, but 1 week for committee. Let's do this properly. Let's do this right. And thank you to all those councillors who have participated so far. And thank you so much to those in the gallery who have come along and shared your views with you. I hear you, and I thank you for your time today.
Councillor Davis.
If I was a parent, a teacher or a student, I would be very, very worried about what's going on in this chamber tonight. The reasoning for the motion being delayed and deferred and not considered was that your stories of near misses were not enough.
Point of order.
Councillor Marr, what's your point of order?
I agree, it's disgusting.
Can you please...
Can I make my point of order without interruption? Thank you. Councillor Davis is casting aspersions on the motivations for the deferral, which are factually incorrect.
He literally said it word for word.
I said what word for word?
No, Councillor Martin said it word for word.
Councillor Davis, could you please keep quiet while Councillor Marr is actually speaking?
Councillor Davis stated that the reason for the deferral is that the deputations were not enough. Yeah. That's not the reason for the deferral.
That's what Councillor Martin said.
I think that's fair.
Thank you. It is.
Sorry, what does that mean? That's fair, meaning what?
Sorry, Councillor Davis, a point of order is fair. So I will accept that point of order. Can you stick to...
Look, if I misheard Councillor Martin say, and I thought it was word for word, that the stories and deputations were not enough and that he wanted to see more data so that he didn't make a mistake, I'd like to apologise to Councillor Martin. That's what I heard. I thought that's what he said word for word. I'm not sure if you heard that as well.
Apology accepted.
Apparently the gallery should be kicked out as well.
Apology accepted. Councillor Davis, can you continue?
I believe the gallery heard those words as well, Councillor Martin, but I do apologise if that's not what you said, word for word.
Can we continue?
Yes, we can. So it is quite a shame that the stories from St Mary's that they have come here tonight to ask for a report on things that we already know, and consider a pathway to implementation of that. I'm very concerned because, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seemed to me that St Mary's might not have any action at all if there are other higher priorities that should appear somewhere else. And I'm also really concerned for our students who are present here tonight that had to witness the attempted delay and broadening of every motion into oblivion. And I'm quite ashamed of the chamber tonight.
Point of order.
Councillor Marr, what's your point of order?
The administration comment refers to an existing plan for St Mary's, particularly around the crossings. Councillor Davis has just said that there is nothing happening at St Mary's.
I don't think I said that.
Sorry. Point of order is, so could you please repeat it?
I don't understand it.
Councillor Davis is stating that there is nothing happening at St Mary's, whereas the administration comment on this particular motion in the printed agenda contradicts that statement.
Okay, 3-7 to 3-8, we are doing a whole lot of stuff. So Councillor Davis, can you continue but keep on track?
I'm almost finished. And I would like to apologise to those from St Mary's and the children who came tonight, because it would seem that a simple report and implementing low-cost measures won't be delivered tonight. But I would like to point out that at the start of the meeting I did outline what the fate of Socrates was and his attempts at improving democracy where he was, and it did not end well for him. And as you can see, I've been yelled at, interrupted and pointed of order into oblivion, and even a loud banging of the gavel by the Deputy Lord Mayor. So I do resonate with that historical character here tonight.
I don't think I'll comment on that. Councillor Couros.
Lost the will to live sometimes. I understand what Councillor Martin is wanting to say. However, in saying that, we've had some parents here, we've had a whole community here that are pleading with us. And what this motion here is asking is for a report. It's asking us to get something together for them to understand what the costings
Point of
are, what
order,
is required.
he says gleefully. This
Councillor
is not related to a deferral.
Sorry, Councillor Couros, can you say...
The deferral will delay that report being highlighted for the people that are here within the gallery to understand and hear in regards to all what is required. The deferral actually tells you tells the people in the gallery that we hear you, but you're not as important maybe as what other schools might be. The deferral means that you need to be in line, and I hear your pain, but I'm not going to action to it until I've got all the information. I can make an informed decision about which one I will prioritise. Now, if I knew that I wasn't here when North Adelaide Primary School were here in tears, if they were, I would have actioned something immediately, because honestly, if people are coming into this chamber and are pleading with us and want us to listen to them, that is our job. And this is just a report. So I think that we are not doing any
Point of order.
Councillor Couros, can you sit down?
Point 4
Councillor
of the
Marr, what's your point of order?
Point 4 of the printed motion asked for some particular actions. It's not just a report.
Thank you, Councillor Marr, for that observation.
A ruling on my point of order, please.
I agree. So that is correct.
Thank you. But it is asking for a report,
correct.
Is it not? The deferral is asking for a report. There, it says it right there. It says, request that the report, request.
Oh, this is a deferral.
So I think that we aren't doing any justice to the community here. Could there have been some amendments here? Maybe there were, but we don't get a chance to do that because the deferral is not giving the ability to us to be able to shape this motion in a way that could align with what is coming forward in maybe in a couple of weeks. We're not really thinking about what we should be doing. We're just giving a knee-jerk reaction to saying, I want the glory to wanting to know what is going to be coming before us in a report in a couple of weeks, and I want to make the decision on the schools in a holistic approach, but they're here. We could have amended this in a way that could support them with what they are seeking. We could have really looked at this, but this deferral, right, is just saying, yep, we hear you, there's other people, we'll take it into consideration, but you know, we might action it, we might not.
Thank you. Before we actually go further, I need to seek leave of the meeting to go post 8:30 until all items have been dealt with. All in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Carried. Thank you, members. Against? 1, 2. Carried. Thank you. Okay, the next person on the list is Councillor Freeman.
Thank you, Acting Lord Mayor. I had a couple of questions for the administration before I'll speak to this amendment. Firstly, point 36 of the report from the administration says that the pedestrian crossings are being upgraded using federal and state government funds. It doesn't detail what those upgrades are. I know that detailed design hasn't happened yet per this report, but what are those upgrades?
Through the presiding member, the debate is currently focused on the deferral motion.
So I can't ask a question? Okay, noted. All righty then. In that case, I'll speak to the amendment. I do support deferring this by 2 weeks. This amendment does not decline this from being decided. It simply delays it by 2 weeks so that we are well informed. And I understand that this is an emotional topic, and I do really thank the deputies for coming tonight. But the reason why I support that deferral, and I want to go back to what one of the deputies said, which was, if the risks have been identified in this review and the solutions recommended, why the hold up? Why are we holding this up for 2 weeks? Well, it's already been said tonight because there's 11 schools, there's $30 million of improvements, and there's a 10-year program. And I did just want to, if it's permitted, speak in my capacity as a member of the Adelaide High Governing Council earlier this year and Adelaide Botanic High Governing Council this year. They are not here tonight. They didn't get the opportunity to speak to this chamber, but they have told me that they are similarly really concerned about school safety. Adelaide High have to stage the times where the students leave because someone got pushed onto West Terrace. Adelaide Botanic High similarly have a lot of problems with cars coming in and out of driveways on an upgraded Frome Road that seemingly forgot about the footpath. So anyway, I just want to make that point quickly to say the reason why we're deferring this is we have to consider all of this, and we're not leaving St Mary's out. We're not leaving the other schools out. So it's 2 weeks. We will be well informed after the workshop next week, and I really look forward to making a smart decision then and supporting St Mary's into having a safer school.
Councillor Kabata.
Wait, didn't he move the motion? Does he get to talk to the amendment?
Yes, he does. This is.
You don't want me to talk?
This is the amendment, so he can talk to this. He can speak to this.
I won't be long, Acting Lord Mayor. I just wanted to take a quick moment to just say thank you to everyone who came before us to make the deputations. We thank you for your time and thank you for coming out tonight. We appreciate it. It looks like the Chamber will decide to defer it, and that's democracy. But thank you once again for coming out. I appreciate your support and help.
Thank you. I'm going to actually put this amendment to a vote. All in favour? Against? Division. Carried, and we've called a division.
Members, a division is called on item 17.5. If you're in favour, please stand. Councillor Martin, Councillor Snape, Councillor Giles, Councillor Freeman, Councillor Marr. Call it.
We now go back to...
Call it carried.
Oh, sorry, carried. We now go back to the substantive motion. Including the deferral. So,
anyone like to speak?
Anyone speaks to this? Councillor Freeman.
So I can ask questions about this now?
Yes, you can.
Okay, thank you very much. Look, I just wanted to ask a couple of quick ones. So going back to the question I asked earlier, do we understand what we are doing to the existing pedestrian crossings with the funding that's been committed?
Through that presiding member, considering the motion is a deferral motion, we'd be happy to provide that information before the workshop on the 21st.
Okay, sounds good. And, well, the other thing that would be good to provide at that workshop is a description of, noting part 4 of this motion that's been deferred, immediate low-cost measures. What is low cost? So that hasn't been defined. I would love that to be answered at the workshop.
We'd also undertake to address that.
Councillor Davis.
I would just like to thank Councillor Kabata for attempting to take action on this topic, and I thank everyone for coming in and giving their heartfelt deputations, especially to the lady who has suffered near misses. Unfortunately, there won't be any action tonight, but I must say that Councillor Kabata's dedication to Central Ward has been unmatched, and I think everyone's very grateful to have him in the chamber. And I would like to remind members of the gallery that if you do feel that there has been lack of leadership in relation to this matter, there will be an election next year in April where you can elect new
Councillor
elected members.
Davis, totally inappropriate. Councillor Couros.
Only just to say that some of the comments that have just been made could have been incorporated or amended in the original motion. The deferral to me is a real slap in the face of the people in the gallery.
Councillor Snape.
I spoke in the deferral, now speaking to a motion proper. Just to say that, in reference to what Councillor Couros said twice now, this needs and deserves more than quick fixes on the fly in the middle of a council chamber.
Point of order. Councillor Couros. I never mentioned any quick fixes. He referred to me, and I did not mention any quick fixes. So,
I would draw any comment in regards.
or he referred to me as asking for quick fixes.
Thank you. Councillor Snape. To the point.
I believe we cannot, this subject deserves proper consideration and is serious enough that we actually do need to deal with it in committee, where we can sit down, ask questions, work alongside each other to put something forward that we can support and hopefully unanimously. In my opinion, having quick fixes on the floor of a chamber to try and negotiate this tweak here or this tweak there ends up with something that is not satisfactory and not the right thing to do. So let's give this the due consideration that it deserves. People are saying in this chamber that this is a delay and that we don't care or something to that effect. 2 weeks, Chair, that's what we're asking. 1 week's time, we will sit down and consider this properly in committee where we can tease it out, ask questions of staff, discuss with each other and come up with real something hearty and wholesome, hopefully. And then a week after, we will vote on that. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Anyone else? All good? Councillor Kabata, would you like to sum up?
Thank you, Acting Lord Mayor. I would just like to say, once again, this came to Council in 2024 at Council's request. The school safety, travel safety review was carried out. We're now in 2026, July of 2026. 2 weeks might not seem like a long time, but to people that have been waiting for 2 years, it is a long time. For people that for 2 years have had near misses, it is a long time. I hate debating and doing things. I like doing things to get action and happen. I feel bad for the parents that we're about to let down. I understand why. Sorry, Councillor Martin. Were you going to?
We haven't let anyone down.
Councillor Kabata, can you continue, please?
Yes, of course. I was just trying to get my train of thought. Look, thank you once again for coming out. Hopefully in 2 weeks there will be a final decision that we can then come back to you on timelines and cost and what that looks like, and hopefully that will give you the information you need. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it here tonight, but thank you once again for coming out.
I'm actually going to put that to a vote. All in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Against? Carried. Division has been called.
Members, the division has been called on item 17.5, the motion as amended. Please stand if you are in favour. Councillor Martin, Councillor Snape, Councillor Giles, Councillor Freeman, Councillor Marr.
That is carried. We will go back to item 11 on item 11 on the agenda, which is the advice of Caterpillar.
Acting Lord Mayor, sorry, I have a request. I think there's a person in the gallery that's waiting for a particular item. I'm just wondering if we can move forward to that one. It's been waiting very patiently.
No,
I believe
sorry?
it's regarding.
Yeah, but I'm not going to.
I think it's wearing a West Beach. I think. Yeah. Are you here for the West Beach Soccer Club?
Just a point of order. We already took leave of the meeting to go through to 17.6.
Got quorum. Quorum has been collapsed. We just need to wait until we actually have our precious councillors back in the chairs. Councillor Freeman, can you sit, please? And now we have quorum again. We will go back to item 11, members. The advice from Caterpillar. We actually have two items. Councillor Snape, will you take the two items, 6.1 and 6.2 on block?
Yes, and reserve my right.
1 and 2, right. Have you got a seconder? Councillor Martin, would you like to speak to?
Reserve my right.
Councillor Martin?
No, thank you.
Members? Okay, I would sum up. All good? I'll put that to a vote. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Okay. The next item is item 12, recommendations of the City Committee Services and Cultural Committee. Councillor Snape. Take, it's only, and the seconder, we actually have Councillor, I think Councillor Martin put his hand up first. Councillor Martin? Members? I'll put that to a vote. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Okay. We have the recommendations of the City Planning, Development and Business Affairs Committee. Can I have a mover for that? Councillor Snape. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Giles. Councillor Giles? I'll put that to a vote. All in favour? Carried. Unanimous. Thank you, members. I would, right, what item is that? 15. Okay. Item 15 is the, Acting Lord Mayor's report. So bear with me, members, because I've got a few things to go through. I would like to provide a brief update on a number of activities I've undertaken while representing the City of Adelaide. Firstly, I attended the Australian Local Government Association National General Assembly in Canberra, which commenced on Monday 22nd of June and concluded on Thursday 25th of June 26. The National General Assembly brought together councils from across Australia and provided an important opportunity to consider the national policy settings affecting local government, including financial sustainability, housing, climate adaptation, infrastructure, cyber security, emergency management and intergovernmental relations. I will be preparing a detailed report on motions, themes and opportunities arising from the Assembly, which I will make available to Council. However, at a high level, one of the strongest messages from the Assembly was the continuing importance of local government in the national policy landscape. The Honourable Catherine King MP, Minister for Infrastructure, Transport and Regional Development and Local Government, made a very important point at the Assembly. In essence, she noted that local councils are creatures of the state legislation. They exist because state governments have legislation that put them in place, and therefore state governments have a central role to play. The federal government then looks at where it can supplement that role. That was a quote. I think that it is an important framing for us. It recognises that local government sits within a complex intergovernmental system, but also that councils are often where national policy is delivered on the ground, whether that is infrastructure, housing, community, place activation, roads, climate adaptation or economic development. During this period, I also attended my first Adelaide Festival board meeting with the new board members. It was a valuable opportunity to engage with one of South Australia's most significant cultural institutions. The festival remains central to Adelaide's identity as a cultural capital, and I look forward to continuing to contribute that work. I also attended the Australia Day Council of South Australia board meeting, continuing the City of Adelaide's involvement in conversations around recognition, community contribution, belonging and civic life across South Australia. On Monday, the 6th of July, I had the great pleasure of representing the Lord Mayor at the community celebration for the Adelaide Thunderbirds Championship win in Runnemore. It was a fabulous occasion and a genuine celebration of South Australian excellence. The Thunderbirds have been outstanding ambassadors for our city and our state, not only through their success on the court, but through the way they carry themselves, inspire young athletes and bring the community together, are great role models for young kids. It was always fitting that this celebration was held in Rundle Mall during its 50th anniversary year. The event was a reminder of the mall's role as Adelaide's civic and community gathering place, somewhere we come together to celebrate success, pride and share moments as a city. The next day, the CEO and I opened NAIDOC Week in the City of Adelaide. This year's theme was 50 Years of Deadly. It's a powerful celebration of resilience, excellence, strength, culture and achievement. The word deadly is used with pride and affection to describe something or someone that is outstanding, strong, impressive and excellence. And the theme was a fitting recognition of 50 years of NAIDOC, honouring First Nations voices, history, culture and achievement. I would particularly like to congratulate our team on the coordination of the Deadly Dome. I hope the elected members got down to see this art installation. It was a deeply immersive and moving experience, inviting people into storytelling that reflects more than not 50 years, 65,000 years of living culture. It was beautifully delivered and a credit
I'm happy to take the report as read, if that would assist.
Oh, I have not finished. I've been busy, Councillor Davis.
Acting Lord Mayor, these interruptions, whether they be in the middle of a speech or so-called points of order, have gone on all night. I wish to move a Regulation 29. That is just another illustration of constant interruptions. I move Regulation 29, and that requires a specific response.
Councillor Snape is the seconder. Debate? Discussion?
Yes, I'm happy to, Acting Lord Mayor. Look, I have sat here and listened to the interruptions disguised as points of order. Why does he keep asking these questions? Was a point of order? It's not a point of order. It was a rudeness. And what occurred just then, when you were delivering as you are required under our meeting regulations, a report on your activities, you were interrupted. Not only were you interrupted, there was an insult. The insult was, I'm happy to take that as read. That is, shut up, stop it. I don't want to hear any more. Now, I find that grossly offensive. It goes on, and this chamber...
I have to raise a point of order.
This chamber...
I mean, you're starting to get defamatory.
I have said nothing of the sort, Acting Lord Mayor. This man is attempting...
Councillor Davis.
I have a point of order.
What's your point of order?
I'm currently being bullied, intimidated, and defamed.
I don't accept that. Councillor Davis, can you sit down and let Councillor Martin finish?
So he can continue defaming me. I put him on notice now.
Councillor Davis, you actually just insulted me before. I'm allowing Councillor Martin to continue. Can you please keep quiet?
And Acting Lord Mayor, may I say that standing there as a practising lawyer saying you're defaming me is an intimidation. Is it meant to make me feel as though I shouldn't be here saying this? Exactly, that's what he's doing. He's intimidating again. Now, that is further proof of why a Regulation 29 is required. It's outrageous behaviour. Trying to silence members with threats of defamation actions. Look, Acting Lord Mayor, I give up. This is just the most appalling behaviour, and I hope something is done.
Councillor Davis, do you wish to make
I know. First of all, I accept that a regulation has been, 29 has been called. Councillor Davis, would you actually like to talk to this and give a personal explanation of why you were so rude?
Sorry, you're yelling at me, Chair.
I'm not. I'm speaking assertively.
Yeah, look, I apologise if I was rude. I apologise that it could have been perceived as rude. I understand that you do have a significant report there, and I was merely offering to assist in bringing that so that we could continue on with the rest of the meeting. And I apologise if you found that offensive. Members, the level of aggression in this chamber is really concerning towards me. I consider it to be intimidating. I consider it to be bullying, yelling, pointing your fingers at me. And I understand that there is a gang at play here in the City of Adelaide, and I understand that many of you will vote in concert together, and that is my...
Point of order. Look, I understand the member is making an explanation, but the explanation does not permit him to further insult people by suggesting they are voting according to a pattern not of their own free will or mind. When does it end? When does this constant vilification end?
That's a very good question. And I do think that in terms of the points of order that I raised earlier, which are being objected to, the deferral motion, for example, was something I objected to. There is no deferral motion, it's an amendment, and I think that I'm glad that that was clarified by the administration.
Councillor Davis, we are asking you for an explanation of why you were actually rude to myself, and there was Regulation 29 actually called, and it's valid, and we need you to stick to the explanation.
Sorry, can I ask a question? Because Councillor Martin, in his reason for calling 29, said that I'd previously called points of order, and the reason why he was trying to eject me now was because I called spurious points of order previously. Is it not appropriate for me to address points of order which I've called before, in particular in relation to the confusion that I had with a deferral motion and an amendment? Is that not appropriate?
I think what we're talking about is the fact that you interrupted me whilst I was actually reading out my Acting Lord Mayor report, which is valid, and I had not finished. And at the end of the day, it was quite rude. And Councillor Martin has called a Regulation 29, which I accept. I'm asking you to actually give an explanation of that, and And that's fine, but stick to it. He's not doing that. And Councillor Cabada, please not speak across the room. Councillor Davis, please continue.
Yeah. Look, so my question was the reason for moving the Regulation 29, and sorry if I'm struggling here. Obviously, I'm getting screamed at by a lot of people, including you.
I'm not screaming at you, Councillor David. I'm speaking
sorry, it's extremely aggressive.
I am not being aggressive. I am answering your question. You were the one that was rude to me.
But my question is, can I discuss the reason...
Stick to the script.
But my question was, can I talk about the deferral and amendment position, because that was raised by Councillor Martin? Is that...
No, you can't.
I'm not allowed to talk about...
No, you can't. It's
so
not about
the only instance tonight that this chamber is considering is that I asked whether we could move a deferral motion.
Yes, because it was inappropriate. And at the end of the day, I've given
nothing else.
I've allowed you your explanation. Okay. I now ask that you leave the room.
I'd like to
this
offer
matter is
an apology to you if that was perceived as rude, and if that came across as rude. I wasn't here in the room when you started, and I wasn't sure if the chamber had been aware of the option to take your report as read. And so I wasn't here for that discussion. That's on me. I was speaking with members of the gallery, so I do apologise to you if I've caused any offence by moving a deferral motion. It certainly wasn't an intention to try and stop you from talking, but really a way to wrap the meeting up, given that we have already gone over our 8:30 deadline, and so that we could all go home to our families sooner.
I actually accept that apology. You can remain in the room.
No, I think don't I have to leave? You have to now vote on it.
Okay, we have to vote. We'll wait until Councillor Davis actually leaves the room.
I have a question. Sorry.
Councillor Kouros.
Sorry. I wasn't here for the incident, so I don't feel as if I can vote. Can I leave the chamber? Because I was not present and I do not know what happened. And I cannot wholeheartedly vote on something. I have no idea what just happened.
If you leave the room, we'll lose quorum.
Well, I can't vote for this because I did not see the incident.
Well, then you vote against it. You have to vote as a councillor on items. So I put this to a vote, members. All in favour?
Excuse me. I was just told that I won't collapse quorum if I do leave the room.
Who told you that?
Councillor Snape. Because I cannot vote for something I did not see.
Okay, you won't collapse quorum.
All right, well, I'm noting that I am leaving this room. I did not see what happened. I do not know why Regulation 29 was...
yes, whatever. You can leave.
Thank you. Excuse me, no need to be rude.
Okay, now we're collapsing quorum. Cabada, all you have to do is vote against it if you actually have an issue with this. So I put this to a vote. All in favour?
Sorry, what are we voting on? We're at 29.5. I need to know what we're voting on. As a censure or suspension?
The motion before the chamber is that Councillor Davis has contravened Regulation 29 by disorderly behaviour.
I'll put the motion to the vote again. All in favour? Against? That's carried. Yes, we need to decide what action we actually take. If the motion is carried, basically the options are censure, suspend or take no further action. Councillor.
Look, Acting Lord Mayor, given that it was a serious breach, I'd propose that Councillor Davis is suspended for the balance of the meeting.
Have you got a seconder? Councillor Snape? We just vote now. I'm just going to put that to a vote. All in favour? Against? Carried. We need to bring Councillor Davis back into the room to advise him to pack up his bags tonight.
So just reiterate that the council will resolve to effective for the remainder of the meeting. Please, things.
Councillor Davis, the council has resolved that they suspend you for the remainder of the meeting, so you can no longer stay in the meeting.
Hemlock
so you need to leave.
Thank you very much, members. I wish you a good night and enjoy the rest of your meeting.
Point of order, Councillor Davis has to leave. He can't
Councillor,
make any speeches.
please leave. Thank you. Oh, I'm going to continue my report. Yesterday, I represented the Lord Mayor at the China Australia International Forum in Adelaide, which focused on comparative research and practice in relation to the silver community. I will also be involved with that forum tomorrow. This is an important and timely discussion as cities consider ageing populations, inclusion, well-being and the design of communities that support people in all stages of life. I just have one last point, and that is also I want to acknowledge SAPOL's recently announced initiative to establish a dedicated CBD precinct, which SAPOL has described as providing a safer environment for the community and greater support for frontline staff. The announcement includes 30 additional frontline officers as well as new leadership positions and has been reported as almost doubling the CBD response officers from 60 to 118. This is a welcome and important initiative for our city, and we look forward to the full council briefing on the 28th of July to better understand what this means in practical terms for safety, security, visibility, response times and community confidence in the CBD. It will also be important to consider how the City of Adelaide can continue to work collaboratively with SAPOL to maximise public safety, support our businesses, residents, visitors and the nighttime economy, and ensure that the city remains welcoming, vibrant and safe. Members, can someone move and second my report? Oh, who was that?
Councillor Snape, Councillor Giles.
Right. All in favour? Against? Carried. Members, your reports. Councillor Giles.
Thank you. Thank you, Acting Lord Mayor. Just to build on your report in relation to NAIDOC Week, which was rudely interrupted and which I think was very inappropriate in relation to NAIDOC and talking and recognising Aboriginal people. I was very pleased to represent the Lord Mayor at the Lord Mayor's NAIDOC Awards, and I would like to congratulate Mitzi Nam, who we chose this year to have the Lord Mayor's NAIDOC Award. It was a well-attended event, and we reintroduced a tradition that we haven't done for a while because the council chamber's been under construction and renovation, for the raising of three flags: the Australian flag, the Aboriginal flag and the Torres Strait Islander flag, which was raised by three people at the same time, and including Auntie Yvonne Aegis. And as also a celebration that Adelaide City Council was the very first council to raise the Aboriginal flag in Australia, and I think that's something we can be proud of. I think that the work and the effort we put into building a relationship with Aboriginal people in this city, the connection we have with Ghana, the Ghana Aboriginal the Ghana Yata Aboriginal Corporation, and also the way we involve Aboriginal people in our decision making and the incredible work we do in the reconciliation plan. It just comes to a head during NAIDOC week because of the incredible work that our staff do in making sure that Aboriginal people know that we are here and we support them in their efforts.
Yes, thank you, Acting Lord Mayor. First, councillor motion on the agenda, and yet it is 9 o'clock. So I'll try and keep it brief. I don't think I need to tell this chamber that there is vacancy in the city. We have vacant and underutilised buildings, and I don't think any of us would think that that's a good thing for the city. It does feel like things have gotten particularly bad since COVID and then maybe improved again a little bit, but now possibly are regressing. There's been recent reports about record high vacancy on Rundle Street, 10% of vacancy, despite all of the events that happen there and all of the residents that live in that part of the city. We have reports of long-standing businesses shutting up shop. It's not all bad. We do have reports from AIDA that vacancy is actually improving from 9.9% last year to 9% this year. But 9% is still 9%, and I can't help but wonder, why are we having vacant and underutilised buildings? What's happening? How bad is it? And what can we, as local government, actually do about it? We've had recent debate in this chamber about rates, and that being the reason for businesses leaving the city. And I have to wonder, is there more to it? I have been asking people, including businesses that have recently left the city, what they think is the reason for vacancy. And I did actually get quite a long list, and rates were not part of that list. Things that were said to me were rent has just gotten really high, and there's reasons for that, but that combined with the price of everything else going up, supplies, staff, it just is getting unaffordable in the city to run a business. COVID has changed everything. We can't control that. Funnily enough, as a result of COVID now, working from home, I saw a comment today that we have a Tuesday to Thursday working week now in the city. So that really impacts Monday to Friday. Is that a good place to do business? Cost of living is impacting everyone. Millennials don't go out for brunch anymore. That's true. They will have mortgages. Flight to quality. We're building a lot of lovely new shiny buildings, and the old ones are left behind. So that is actually happening a lot in Adelaide. We have the highest number of grade B, C and D office buildings in the state. Our planning zoning allows for the wrong mix of land uses, a lot of convenience stores on one street, and people are just spending money more locally, which is a good thing for neighbourhoods, but not good for the city, where we just don't have that baseline residential population. So I think we can all agree there's a problem. I just don't know if we can agree on why it's a problem. I do have a few solutions that I'll talk to you when I sum up, but I would love to open this up to the floor and hear any suggestions that members might have about why this is an issue.
Councillor Snow? Councillor Kouros?
I will support this in principle because I think, as I spoke to administration today, a lot of things that has been requested in this motion is already in train, and we're going to be discussing this in the future in regards to the vacancies. In answer to a lot of the questions, rent is a problem, but rent is going up because rates are going up because the rates is then given to the tenant to pay, and so that's why their rent's going up, because the rates are going up. So if you understand how commercial leases work, the cost of the increase of rates is borne to the tenant, and that is why they cannot continue paying the rent. Agreeing that working from home is an issue, but that is on us to make sure that we give people a reason to why they should come into the city and want to work at the office, because it's not mandate to work from home, it's a choice, and people are choosing it. We need to give them a choice to want to come into the office. Cost of living, yes, is one of the issues, but going back to rates, because people have got to pay their bills. So if our rates are going up, costs are going up, so cost of living is going up, so yeah, it's coming back to the rates. Planning code, completely agree. Building, quality of buildings, completely agree. But the one thing I want to tread very cautiously on, if we're looking at implementing this report and we're going to be talking about a vacancy tax, I'll be completely against it. So I'm open to having a report, a discussion on what we can do in regard to vacancies, but this is to implement any more other taxes. I would not be supporting it. So for me, we are underway in doing whatever we can as a council. We're looking at housing strategies, bringing people into the city. We are working with buildings that we can convert back into apartments. We're doing reforms in regards to in that space, and I commend administration and also the Lord Mayor, whose initiatives really sparked in this area. It is a holistic of a lot of reasons. It's not a pinpoint of just one, but everything comes down to one thing, and that comes down to the cost of doing business in the city is just getting more and more expensive because there is implications on people in regards to costs of extra fees beyond the rates. And I won't go into them right now. I'll wait for that report.
Councillor Ma.
Just a question for the administration. In quite simple terms, how do the rates work? Now, we use our annual value method, which is based on the theoretical rent value, but perhaps we could get just a quick explanation of how that does work.
Through that, presiding member, we've said it before and I'll reinforce it. I'd strongly encourage members to not be focused on the variables about the rating system, okay? What we do in rating is ask you the level of rate increase that you're prepared to entertain on behalf of your community.
Maybe I could clarify my question. The rate that a particular property is applied to, not the percentage, but how the actual number is calculated per property. So how does the annual value system work?
So we manipulate the mathematics of an agreed rate increase by adjusting the rate in the dollar against a valuation returned regarding rent.
Yes. So I guess the following question is, which comes first, the rate or the rent?
What comes first is the rate increase that you...
As a percentage, yes.
Yes.
But as far as the actual number...
Members, can we be careful and not actually smirk and laugh? Let Councillor Ma finish. No, excuse me, can we be quiet and let Councillor Ma and the CEO continue? Excuse me, Councillor Kouros. Can you continue, please?
Thank you. Yes. So the question is not about the percentage or the council decision to change the percentage. The question is specifically about how the rate of a hypothetical single property, which is based on the percentage that we set, the exact rate is calculated based on our assumptions or known value for their rent. So I'd like to have that clarified for the benefit of the room, because I have a question to follow that based on the previous comments.
Through the presiding member, we have a valuation returned on each accessible property in the city.
Yep.
That's a hard number, okay? That's a variable to which we then apply a rate in the dollar to achieve the rate increase that you have agreed to.
Yes. I'm not asking about the rate increase. I'm asking about the calculation.
I'm not understanding your question then, councillor.
The question is the calculation of that hard value that you just referred to. How is that achieved in the first place? And because we use the annual value, it's based on the rent per year. So the question is, how do we assume that number? It's not about the percentage, it's about the valuation, which we then apply the percentage to later. So the question about that, which we use the rent as our assumed value of the rent or the known value of the rent to achieve that number.
Through the presiding member, council engages a professional valuation firm who use a method called mass valuation to calculate with a high degree of accuracy the imputed rental value of each property in the city. That's validated by additional information, including tenancy schedules that might be provided to us by building owners. There's a science to it.
Yes.
What more can I add to that answer?
Well, that's actually the answer I was hoping I would get confirmed. So when we, thank you, when we calculate the rate on a property, we go out either with the actual rent on that property, or we use the mass valuation on the theoretical rent which we apply, and then we apply the rate. So the answer to the question which comes first, the rent value comes first. And so I think we've got an issue here because Councillor Couros just said the opposite.
I don't think so, Councillor. I think it's a tangential debate based on the mathematics of the rates we levy. The hard value, the hard number is the valuation, yes, which is a function of the rent.
Correct.
Okay? I'm not entering debate.
I'm not asking you to enter the debate. So I'm happy to speak to this now. The problem that we have is that council itself does not control the rent on any property in the city that we don't own. And so we control the rate, the percentage, but we don't control the valuation of that rent, which is informed by the market. So it's totally possible that our rate value, which is a calculation function of that percentage, is manipulated by a rental market, which may go up or down depending on what the property owner wants to do. And if they own a lot of properties, they'll have a bigger impact on that. So these are some of the problems that we have as a council and some of the levers that we know we don't have. And this is what I'd like to see some of that commented on in this report, if possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Freeman, would you like to sum up?
Yes, thank you.
Councillor Snow?
Okay, thank you. I'd love to sum up. This motion simply seeks to define the actual problem that's going on here to help us find an appropriate solution or a number of solutions. There are many factors and rates are part of it, but I don't have enough information right now to know how rates are actually contributing to this. If I could see how rates are then converting into an increase in rent, that would be different. So I would love to understand that better. I know our administration has been doing a lot of work about this in the background. I would like to be part of that conversation and this chamber be part of that problem solving moving forward. What I've asked for in this motion is what are the causes of vacancy? How bad is it right now? How is it trending? Where are hotspots in the city? Are there particular buildings or locations where we're noticing more of this? Do we know why? What is it costing us per year? What is the cost of vacancy? What does it cost us in loss of revenue, loss of rent, loss of foot traffic? Other buildings adjacent leaving because they don't want to be on a street with vacancy? What does that cost us? These are conversations I would like to have once this report comes back. To go to the solutions, and this is just a list of things I was given in the last 24 hours. We need code amendments to get the right land use mix. We should look at leasing managers to ensure those land use mixes are achieved. We need the right people at the table for decision making. So can we look at additional governance models that actually have state, local government and business together making decisions? Are funding models right? Should we be looking at levies, for example? Give Renew Adelaide more money. Completely agree with that one. It would be remiss of me not to mention parking. So is parking bespoke for the people that actually need to come and shop in the city, or is it being used by employees who move their car every 2 hours? We know that that happens. Can we have more vibrancy in event to bring people back into the city to just organically fill vacant space? I had a great quote today on my LinkedIn: bring life to the city to bring the city back to life, which I think is just perfect. So look, all of those things I just mentioned, not all of them are up to council. I think that's really important as well, to distinguish what we can and can't control, and I hope that in this report that's made clear. This is a group assignment. I think we need to talk to state government and federal government and peak bodies like the Property Council about this, and I look forward to this report setting out opportunities for us to do that. So I guess in closing, I think we all agree this is a problem. I don't think any of us have a silver bullet, but doing nothing at the same time is not sustainable. We know it's a really challenging economic climate at the moment, and I would just like to have the answers so that when someone comes to me and says, well, what are you doing about all of these ground floor shops that are empty? I can at least say, well, these are the planned, agreed and prioritised steps that we're taking. Perfect timing.
Through the
I'd like to pass
presiding
to
member.
CEO.
Would the mover be prepared to entertain a minor variation to the second that requests a report back to council by August? The administration comment suggests that may not be possible to September.
Yes, CEO, I noticed that. That's fine. Let's change it to September.
Seconder? Happy with that?
It's, with the mover.
Okay, all good. I would like to put that to a vote. All in favour? Against? I think that's carried unanimously. Thank you, members. Okay, we actually have 17.2, which is Chinatown, Adelaide, Lunar New Year Street Party Funding Alignment. Councillor Kabata?
Acting Lord Mayor, just in the interest of time, I wish to withdraw the motion before us, if that's okay, with the chamber.
Withdraw. 17.6.
17.6 we're at, which is the 24-hour City Safety Patrol pilot program. Councillor?
That's an alternative.
I've got a variation to this that I sent through to
Right.
governance.
Okay, we've got a, have you got a seconder for the alternate? Councillor Kouros. Councillor Kapata, would you speak to this, please?
Yes, yes, Acting Lord Mayor, thank you. Colleagues, I want to start with a nurse. She finishes at the hospital just after 2 a.m. in the morning, and she walks to a car through our city, keys in her hand, phone unlocked in her pocket, doing the quiet mouth of, am I safe right now? And she does it alone, because at that hour in this city, there's no one else on that street. She is our own survey. By day, 89% of our residents feel safe here, and I'm proud of that. That between 1 a.m. and 8 a.m, only 17% of people in our city feel safe. More than 8 out of 10 people could not say they feel safe. I did not write those numbers, our community did. So look at what this motion actually asks for you tonight. Not a patrol, not a dollar spent, not a hire. It asks that we investigate the establishment of a 12-month pilot and that administration bring a report back to this chamber by October 2026 so the facts are in front of us before anyone decides anything. That is the entire vote. An investigation into what? Picture 2 trained council officers in uniform on foot in the hours when no one else is out there. They are visible, friendly presence in our streets and squares. They are the face our traders know by name, opening in the dark or locking up long after midnight. They are the closest trained first aider in the city at that hour, when 4 minutes can decide everything. They can come an argument back into an argument before it ever becomes an assault in anyone's statistics. They check on the person sleeping in the doorway and connect them to the support services we already fund, instead of moving them out of sight. And when something does need police, they radio that in with an exact location and a clear description, which beats a panic call from a frightened bystander every single time. Because these officers are not SAPL, and they never pretend to be. Police enforce the law, police investigate, police arrest, and only police can do that. These officers carry no weapons and have no arrest powers, because their job is everything around crime that has never needed a badge. And colleagues, you do not have to take the partnership on trust, because I've written that into the motion itself. Clause 5 confirms that this patrol works in conjunction with SAPL's dedicated CBD 24/7 district operation inspectors. Police alongside us from day one, in black and white. What these officers do is hand police their hours back. Every welfare check they take, every argument they come, is more time for police to fight actual crime. That is not competing. This is partnership. And the other states have proven it works. In Victoria, Melbourne, they've put 11 officers on the street. Last November, 600 people applied for those 11 jobs. They average 54 interactions a day. They have stopped self-harm, given first aid, and reunited lost children with their parents. And Victoria Police publicly welcomed them. In Tasmania, Hobart said yes in March.
Can we extend?
The meeting.
Yep.
Yes, just for
All in
another
favour?
2 minutes.
Carried.
Thank you. In Tasmania, Hobart said yes in March, 3 officers, and the cost was $300,000. In Western Australia, Perth runs its safety operation 24 hours a day with 800 cameras and police sitting inside the council's own control room. Victoria, Tasmania, Western Australia, 3 states, 1 lesson. It works, it's affordable, and the police welcomed it. So here's where I finish, where I started, with her. She will do that walk again while we are driving home from this chamber, and she will do it tomorrow night and the night after. We cannot promise her the world, but we can promise her this much, that her council counted her, heard her, and was at least willing to find out what it would cost for someone to be there. If the report comes back in October and the numbers do not stack up, vote it down then. But nobody in this chamber, nor one of us, was elected to vote against finding out. I commend the motion to council.
Councillor Couros? Councillor Snape, sorry.
Thank you, Chair. And this is an incredibly serious and important issue, and I do commend what Councillor Cabada is trying to address here, and I agree it is an important issue that we need to address, but it's well and truly out of our purview if nothing, this is definitely a state issue, this is definitely a SAPOL issue, and I'm deeply concerned about the suggestion of what, in my opinion, looks to be a council private police force, and the costs which will be involved in such a thing. So I just cannot support this, and I would also like to move that the motion be put.
Seconder. Sorry? Oh, seconder, basically a procedural motion, so I just put that to the vote.
Was there a seconder?
The motion be put is a procedural motion. All in favour? It's lapsed. Wait a minute. Yes, of the procedural motion. Wait a minute, sorry.
No, the procedural motion is moved and seconded.
Yes.
You then move on the motion before you.
Just clarifying that, yes. So the acting Lord Mayor is asking us to vote on the procedural motion?
No.
She's asking us to vote on the motion.
On the motion.
No,
it's a procedural motion.
It must be put to the vote.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was correct. It's got to be put to the vote, the procedural motion. All in favour of the motion?
You have been gagged.
Yeah, you have. Yes. Yes, this is a formal procedural motion. All in favour, members?
Of the motion before you.
Of the motion before you. Of the motion before you. Right? You can't debate this anymore. This is a formal procedural motion. So all in favour of the motion put before you?
I think the council wants to withdraw it.
Sorry, you can't. Can I actually have a show of hands
In favour
In favour of the motion that's been put before you? No, you can't. Okay, all in favour? Against? That is lost. It's the regulations, Councillor Couros. We don't make these up. Okay.
Call a division then.
A division? Would you like a division? A division is called. That's it.
Members, a division has been called on item 17.6. If you're in favour, please stand. Councillor Kabata, Councillor Couros, Councillor Freeman.
What have we got?
Motions without notice.
Oh, of course.
Lost.
Sorry.
So through the presiding member, if I can specifically refer you to 19.7, paragraph 6.
6?
Yep. Nominations, enrolments.
This is for...
Rolls close on the 4th of January.
Not for candidates, we're talking about for...
For nominees, yeah. For electors.
For electors. Great, thank you.
4th of January, Councillor.
Just clarification, thank you.
Councillor Snape.
Thank you, Chair. In regard to agenda item 19.4, for a question on notice from Councillor Couros in regards to external consultants, the staff time in receiving and preparing replies is 78.5 hours. Is that a typo? Is that a misplaced decimal?
Presiding member, that is not a typo. We had a team of people work over the weekend to produce the answer for the question.
I have one. Sorry, you can't see me on this side of the room. You didn't see me on this side of the room. The question 19.8, sorry, not 19.8. Too many documents. Here we go. 19.2, sorry. Regarding the convenience stores specifically, do we know how many of the ones that were counted in point 2 of the reply were closed last week by SAPOL?
Through the presiding member, the question's been asked, it's been answered. If you have a supplementary question...
That was the supplementary question. So
okay, it needs to be on notice.
There's 17...
Question needs to be on notice.
Okay, all right, fine.
Is any questions without notice? Councillor Martin. As soon as you actually don't put your in 90 seconds, hopefully. I close the meeting, members. Thank you. I am cured. I will not go for Lord Mayor.